We are going to start the session. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Center for Policy Dialogue, CPD, I welcome you all to the third Bangladesh-China Renewable Energy Forum. The forum is titled Recent Challenges for Chinese Overseas Investment in Bangladesh's Renewable Energy Sector and Way Forward. As you may know, CPD since 2023 has been organizing events under the newly established Bangladesh-China Renewable Energy Forum. The objective of this forum is to discuss how overseas investors, especially Chinese investors, could take the opportunity for investment in the renewable energy sector of Bangladesh. At the same time, this forum likes to know more through in-depth discussion with the Chinese investors about their issues, concerns in making investment in Bangladesh, taking part in the tendering process, Chinese experience in facilitating investment in their own country, as well as in overseas countries, especially in Asia and Africa, and thereby this forum like to provide suggestions to the stakeholders of Bangladesh government. As you are aware that China is globally the leading investor in the renewable energy sector. And its investment expanding not only in its own country, but in the overseas countries, especially in Asia and Africa, including Bangladesh. It is the largest manufacturer of renewable energy equipments, as well as user as well, and investor, as I mentioned. In Bangladesh, China is one of the largest overseas investors. It has an investment of $2.6 billion in Bangladesh, which accounts for 15% of Bangladesh's total overseas investment. And in the renewable energy sector, it is the leader so far. Though Bangladesh's renewable energy sector is still at a nascent stage, but despite that, the sector received around $1 billion worth of investment in Bangladesh so far. And out of that, $550 million investments comes from China. So it's a huge achievement from Bangladesh side that Chinese overseas investors are increasingly taking interest to invest in Bangladesh. Since the interim government has taken over, the focus on renewable energy sector has got prominence. This is because this government's political commitment, and at the same time, a number of positive initiatives have been taken targeting to Ministry of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, Bangladesh Power Development Board, BERC, SREDA. All these organizations have new leadership, and including our today's chair is also in the charge of Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission, has given a good positive intent of the government to promote renewable energy in the country. And very recently, you heard that government has taken a decision to mandatorily set up rooftop solar in all public buildings. So I think it's a very good positive step towards promoting renewable energy in the country. However, its success depends on a number of other factors, and we would like to work on it with the government in the coming days. On the other hand, it is also true that during this period, a number of decisions have been taken by the interim government, which has created confusion among the investors, particularly the overseas investors. Most notably, the cancellation of LOI for 37 renewable energy projects, which were sanctioned during the previous regime, and it was cancelled with the arguments that it has a politically motivated. But at the same time, it is also true that a number of investors had made a good investment already. And this cancellation has given a mixed signal, or I would rather say more extremely, a rather negative signal towards the government's policy consistency on attracting overseas investment in the country. So I think these issues are very important to discuss, and CPD has taken one of these issues and would like to conduct and already conducted a study on uh, on addressing institutional challenges in the investment cycle of the renewable energy case of Chinese overseas investment. One of the major takeaway of this study is that government should focus increasingly on investment facilitation than investment promotion. I think it is time to focus on investment facilitation than on investment promotion. These two terms are very, very different. I think investors are now realizing that providing incentives is of course important, but they are more interested to reducing the barriers. So they are actually expecting that how the government will reduce the investment related barriers in the investment cycle, even more important than investment incentives in the country. So I think government should realize that it should work on particularly the agencies like BIDA, BPDB, BERC, SREDA, Prime Minister's Office. They should now work on investment facilitation instead of investment promotion. So with this message, we would like to start our today's discussion. We are very happy that we have a good panel of experts and the chief guest and the special guest today with us. And we are very happy for accepting our request to Chairman Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission, Mr. Jalal Ahmed. Thank you, Jalal Ahmed Bhai, for accepting our request. We are waiting for the participation of Mr. Nahian Rahman Rochi, Head of Business Development, Bangladesh Investment Development Authority. He will join after a meeting at the Prime Minister's office. And thank you, Mr. Mohammad Alauddin, Rector, Bangladesh Power Management Institute. And we have also with us as panelists, Engineer Mr. Mohammad Mizanur Rahman, Director, Deputy Secretary, Energy Regulatory, Renewable Energy Development, SREDA. He will join us, I hope. Mr. Jahangir Alam Molla, I think this is Mr. Gobindro Chandra Laha. Mr. Gobindro Chandra Laha, Chief Engineer, Bangladesh Power Development Board. He has joined with us. Mr. Han Kun, President, Chinese Enterprise Association in Bangladesh. Thank you, Mr. Han, for joining. Mr. Mustafa Al Mahmoud, President, Bangladesh Sustainable and Renewable Energy Association, BSREA. Mr. Masoudur Rahman, Chief Executive Officer, Omera Renewable Energy. Thank you, Mr. Masood, for joining today. And also with us online, Mr. Wang Weiquan, Deputy Secretary General, Chinese Renewable Energy Industries Association. Hopefully, he will join us from one of the airports. We are expecting him to join with us online. And also with us, Engineer S.K. Ruhul Amin. Thank you, Ruhul Amin Bhai, for joining. And finally, Mr. Mohammad Shohidur Rahman, Country Manager, Jinko Solar. He will also join. He has already joined. So we have a good expert panel with us for discussion. And also we are very happy that we have a good number of participants from those who have associated with Chinese companies, work here in the renewable energy sector, and very much closely linked with Chinese businesses and investments in the renewable energy sector. And the keynote paper will be presented both by myself and my colleague, Mr. Abrar Ahmed Bhuiya. Now I am actually requesting Mr. Abrar to start the presentation.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's session. Uh, so, so as sir described, after that, in the context, as sir described, the first question is why Chinese investment matter. The answer is China is one of the largest investor in Bangladesh. Total Chinese investment actually 2.6 billion US dollar, around 15% of our total FDI. And in the renewable energy sector, more than half of the foreign investment comes from China. We have bilateral investment treaty with China, which offers strong protection to Chinese investors. But to enjoy these benefits, Chinese investors have to deal with many legal, operational, and logistical requirements, especially before the project starts. Many Chinese companies say these steps are too complex and slow, and these feel like administrative barriers. If we don't fix this now, we may lose important foreign investors in the days to, in upcoming days. So what this study has tried to do, first the study tried to review the current process Chinese investors follow before and after they invest. And then we tried to find the weak points in our system that cause delays and create uncertainty. Also in the study, we tried to learn from the international best practices. What's the practice in other countries for investment facilitation? Finally, we try to give clear and practical suggestions for short-term, medium-term, and long-term for reform. We hope this study will help to improve the investment climate to build stronger cooperation between Bangladesh and China in the renewable energy sector. At the core of this study lies two words: investment facilitation. It is necessary to know what it means, why it matters, and how it works. That can help Bangladesh to attract more Chinese investment. One thing that we should be clear about at this point is that investment facilitation is not same as investment promotion. Investment promotion is about encouraging investors to come, often using tax holidays, special economic zones, or marketing, like the investment summit BIDA did recently. Investment facilitation is about helping investors once they decide to come to invest in the country. It means making their life easier by removing everyday hurdles. For example, making rules and procedures more clear and easy to find, speeding up paperwork and approvals, making laws more predictable, helping investors to talk to the government and solve the problems faster. Many countries, including Bangladesh, actually spend a lot of time and money on promoting investment, but less focus is given to investment facilitation, the actual experience of the investors on ground. Even if the investors are attracted to come to Bangladesh, they face difficulties later, delays, unclear procedures, lack of support, and this can push them away. That's why investment facilitation has become more important for Bangladesh. So we have followed the model of UNCTAD. UNCTAD has developed a global action menu for investment facilitation, a list of best practices that is practiced around the world. So if I try to describe some of them, we have accessibility and transparency in the system, predictability and consistency of the rules and regulations, efficiency of the investment-related administrative procedure, and focal point, monitoring and mechanism, cooperation between government agencies, technical assistance to the investors, and institutional capacity of the government for proactive investment attraction. And some other aspects are covered in the investment facilitation framework of UNCTAD. So to deep dive into the investment framework and make it more practical, we have actually described it in multiple levels. First, we tried to figure it out in macro level, then meso level, and then micro level. Because if we can segregate this in different levels, we can come up with more actionable recommendation. So what did we actually do in the study? Actually, we took the framework of the UNCTAD and developed modules of questionnaires to assess every aspect in granular level. Most of the questions are actually binary, yes, no, and we have went to investors, experts, and different stakeholders in the government to collect the information against those questions. And we have assessed the questions, and we have actually illustrated a picture of the whole system and tried to identify the gaps. But after finding the gaps, what we do is retrofitting. The retrofitting is, instead of overhauling the whole system, we actually prioritize which gaps to be filled up first, so that working on those, we can get the maximum value or maximum outcome. And we can fix the system actually faster. So retrofitting enables feasible stepwise improvement while preserving the system stability. And then we came up with recommendations through our findings. So first, I will try to give an overview of the different stages of the overseas investment in renewable energy sector of Bangladesh. So for more effective analysis, we have actually pictured this in 3 different stages. First, actually, these are the stages that investment goes through in the investment journey of an investor. First, there is business establishment, when a company comes, registers, and starts to operate. And then they work on specific projects. For implementing projects, they actually go through a different and complicated processes, and then post-establishment operations. In this study, we tried to focus majorly on first 2 stages because these are more relevant to us. But we have also actually discussed about the 3rd stage where relevant. So first, the business establishment process. Most of us in this room are actually familiar to this process, so I'm not actually going to too much details. From obtaining clearance from the company to obtaining registration certificate from company house, the process is multi-step and requires different documents to submit to different government agencies. And some of the payments are online and offline, and some of the applications are also half digital. So we have tried to find out in the study, we have actually comprehensive list of what are the documents that are required for a company to establish. If I try to give an overview of the process of project implementation, we actually focus more on solar power because this is the major renewable energy resource in Bangladesh, and most of the business actually happens around the solar sector. So solar power plants are actually majorly 2 types, utility scale and rooftop scale. In utility scale, we had 2 processes, solicited and unsolicited. Previously, government actually investor had to go through unsolicited process where they proposed the government for implementing a project. But this got discontinued in this regime, and we are now in solicited process where open tender system is followed by the government. And then we have rooftop solar. Both capital expenditure model and operational expenditure model are practiced in this sector. So overview of the process of the project implementation, unsolicited process, which is discontinued. The process was actually multi-step. It required different review committees to review the proposals, and investors had to actually acquire different levels of clearance from different government agencies. And there is multiple steps, and there is no actually multiple steps, and different agencies are actually associated with the process. Investors face delays, and there are no clear timelines for following the status of the proposal. So now we are currently operating in solicited process, which is actually done by the Bangladesh Power Development Board. In the solicited process, actually open 1 stage 2 envelope tendering method is followed. In this method, what happens is that investors actually simultaneously submit 2 documents. First, technical document, and then financial document. Both technical feasibility and financial competitiveness are actually assessed in the process. What government does is, first it opens the technical document to check the feasibility and the viability of the project, to check the quality of the bidder, and if it gets passed, then the financial feasibility gets measured. So we have tried to describe the process in different flowcharts, and these flowcharts actually we got from the Bangladesh Public Procurement website where it is currently operated. So lastly, we have rooftop solar project implementation process. There is multiple steps again. There is initial survey of rooftop condition and then designing layouts and creating proposals, technical and financial. Then there is agreement between two parties, the investors and the consumers. And actually the clients actually arranges all the financial documents. Then they work on bank guarantees and roof lease agreements. And then after they develop the project, there is installation and the commission and then operation of the project. So after a brief overview, I would like to discuss the challenges of different stages of overseas investment in Bangladesh, because this is the one that we actually try to, these are the one we try to actually find out. So what are the challenges in business establishment stage? There are numerous documents that investors have to actually submit. Comparative to other countries, like our neighboring countries, India, we have too much documents to submit when registering a company. And these documents are not submitted in one portal. Investors have to submit in different agencies separately, and they have to attend there physically. So investors who don't have actually local offices in Bangladesh, they actually struggle more when establishing a company in Bangladesh. And some of the payments are not even online. They have to pay offline. So the process gets much complicated. And there are though some of the websites, some of the documents are submitted through online, but the online portals are not very user friendly to navigate. And in our regulations or structures or instructions, English language resources are actually scarce. Most in various documents or forms are in Bangla, so it is very complicated for investors.
Please take time on discussing every aspect.
Okay.
Go back.
There is duplication of document. Like when they separately actually submit documents to different agencies, some of the documents get duplication. Like the single document is submitted to different agencies separately. This actually increases the cost, actually the economic cost. I'm not just talking about monetary cost. And there is limited information and support. If an investor struggles to navigate through the system, actually there is no clear information. The help desk in Bangladesh is most of the government offices don't have functional help desk which can help promptly when a client faces a problem. There is no centralized digital portal like other countries, Vietnam or Philippines. They have digital portal where investors actually experience ease that they collect all the documents and submit in one portal, and they can check the status of their application at different stages. And when there is something missing, they get notified. But in Bangladesh, we don't see any of this. So challenges in the solicited process, which is now continued in Bangladesh. So firstly, there is actually the process is partially paper-based. That is, when a bidder is participating in the tender process and wants to submit its technical and financial proposals, it have to submit it physically in different offices. Why government has established this process? Because they try to actually avoid external influence from outside in the evaluation process. So when a bidder actually submits different documents in different offices, no one can actually restrain them from submitting documents. But in the short run, this is a good idea, but in the long run and for investment facilitation, this is not a very good picture. So like the unsolicited process, the present solicited process is still prolonged and multi-layer approval process is practiced here. So different levels of the government, the BPDB board, the ministry, cabinet committee on the government purchase, CCGP, and other actually ministries are involved in the process, and they evaluate the proposal on different stages. So there are delays in this in the process. So while in India it takes 3 to 4 months, in Bangladesh it may take more years. So the solicited process for renewable energy projects are not very actually are not currently we have right now, but we have examined other projects like renewable energy projects, and we found that actually it takes like 1 year to finish a process. So there is financial risk actually in this, because if we wait for government to approve our project and we already have acquired lands and we have invested financial resources, and there is time value of money, so the financial risk is there. So there are unpublished proposal status. So like I said earlier, that government tries to make it a closed door evaluation process, so there is no external influence. But what happens is that when the investors are kept in the dark, it creates uncertainty. So they actually panics. So what happens is that they are actually not at ease in this process. So when also we actually found out that when there is something missing in their application, this is not notified to them earlier. So also there is a challenge related to land development. So now in the solicited process, what happens is that government actually declares a broader area for project development. Then investor had to find land, purchase land, and then actually apply for the project. So what happens is that when actually government does this based on where there is near substation in the project area. So when locals know that there will be a project in their area, they actually raises the price. So there is price inflation, and this is much more difficult for foreign investors actually, as they are unfamiliar with the local system. So I have already talked about notifying mechanism, risk of informal pressure, and absence of, and then what happens is that in the now solicited process, the tenders are accepted in the general public procurement website. There is no separate window for renewable energy related or power or energy related projects. In the rooftop solar projects, we have different challenges. The first is that capacity issue. If an establishment has demand of like, for example, 2 megawatt, government allows it to develop 2 megawatts. It cannot supply more than that. So what government, from the perspective of government, they wanted to share is that there is actually lack of infrastructure. Actually, they have feeders. The feeder have a predetermined capacity. So if someone wants to supply surplus of their energy to the grid, it actually pressures the infrastructure. So there is that, and also the power, when the supply and demand of power has to be in balance, otherwise there will be actually disruptions in the system. So and as we don't have smart grid now, so we can't actually take the risk to have more supplies at a point and then there is no supply. So we can handle this uncertainty with the current infrastructure. There is actually risk of OPEX model. The companies operating in rooftop solar has reported that is that when in OPEX model, when they actually invest to create a rooftop solar project and then sell it to the consumer, if the consumer may be of a general company, it can actually fall to financial risk. It can default. And if they default, there is no one to pay for the generated energy. There is already infrastructure, the power is getting generated, but no one is buying that. So they need actually support from the government. So BSREA is suggesting a tripartite agreement involving the government to mitigate the risk and ensure financial security in the rooftop solar project scenario. Now the case study, actually we have actually talked about a case study in our report is that the recent cancellation of projects after issuance of LOIs. So as we have seen, as I have already mentioned in the unsolicited project, that investors had to go through a lot when actually acquiring a letter of intent from the government. They invested their human resource, their financial resource, paid taxes, and after all that, when they actually get a green signal from the government actually broke the contract. So we tried to figure out the timeline of the major events. So what happened is that in 2010, Quick Supply Act was passed.
You can
and
pass.
Yes, sir.
No need to elaborate this.
Okay, sir. So this is the current actually scenario. We actually know about the timeline. So the projects that were cancelled had actually total of actually cumulatively 3,287 megawatts of solar power. Actually, investors have already invested 300 million from foreign lenders through banking channels. 15 companies already purchased and purchased lands, and they actually got the go-ahead signal of the government. So they already paid tax, bought lands, but in the current stage, they have received no refunds from the government, or there is no clear guidelines what will happen next. The land purchase for these projects is actually a pressing issue in Bangladesh for investors, and specifically for foreign investors. Selling a land is much harder than buying it. The investors are stuck with these assets, and these are very difficult to liquidate. So in the current scenario, the government has formed a committee, but we have talked to the investors, and the perspective of the investor is that the authority of the committee is still in question, because according to the investors, the outlook of the government portrays a picture that does not actually support the future of renewable energy projects in Bangladesh. So we had some tables which actually gives the overview of the cancelled projects. And we have actually a list of China financed project that got cancelled. So this is it. From now on, sir will continue. Yes, sir. So I will describe this. The status of the investment facilitation in ecosystem in the light of UNCTAD model. So we actually, as I described, we actually developed a questionnaire which actually consists of mostly binary question, yes, no. Do you get actually what amount of time you have actually to spend for getting a visa? Do you have a special investor visa? Do you have to wait in the general line as investor? And in the application process, we have more binary questions and in different modules. So what is the status of the regulatory transparency and predictability based on the information we collected? So there is limited support platforms. Bidders functions as partially inquiry points. So I should actually mention that in the ecosystem, there is a crucial stakeholder that is investment promotion agencies in different countries. But in Bangladesh, we have multiple investment promotion agencies along with BIDA. So there is actually a vague scenario, and it actually makes harder for the investors to navigate in the ecosystem. So BIDA functions as a partial inquiry point, but lacks a dedicated, comprehensive, one-stop service for renewable energy or Chinese investors. So there are sudden policy changes, like we have seen in the LOI cancellation of different projects. So business didn't got the time to adjust to the revisions. And there is incomplete and language limited informations. We actually have the capacity to cater to different investors from different countries, like China. They need actually, if we could actually develop documents on Chinese language, it will be much easier for them to navigate in Bangladesh's scenario. But this is not happening right now. The incentives, subsidies, tax breaks, Actually, these are not found in government portals. Actually, they actually collect it from external sources. Bidders offering in economic processing zones are not actually clearly published, as we have found when collecting information. So in the judicial and legal transparency, judicial decisions in the energy investment disputes are not routinely published or accessible. Bilateral treaties or international agreements with China are not publicly available, as investors have said to us. The fees, charges, and other financial obligations are scattered across sources and not centralized. No investor's guidebook exists for foreign or Chinese investors in renewable energy sector. The contact information of relevant authorities is hard to find and often not user-friendly for foreign investors. But as local, we can navigate, but for them, they are not actually familiar with this, with our ecosystem. There are limited online resources and payment options. The National Investment website actually lacks investor-focused content. They don't have any walkthroughs or guidelines in their websites. So most of the payments for admission, setup, and expansion must be paid in person. So this is really difficult. No fully operational e-payment system actually exists in Bangladesh right now. Incomplete digital registration, as I have actually mentioned in earlier. There are partial digital communications tool. Actually, in the solicited process also, the government actually tries to contact with the investor with social media and via email. Social media means WhatsApp, actually. Electronic signatures are only partially accepted in some of the stages and depending on the context. No application tracking or centralized system. As I mentioned earlier, if I submit my documents and I want to check the application status of my document, this is not currently available. In other systems, like in passport offices or in visa offices, we get to see the application stage, in which office it is currently now. But in the investment scenario, it is not actually present. And there is absence of support mechanism. As I said, there is no active help desk to support. The status of the focal point, we don't have a focal point actually. So actually we are lacking in this. So investors don't know where to go, whom should they contact. So in the review process, there is mechanism and judicial reviews exist. There is, as I said, there is a weak focal point, poor complaint handling and coordination. No centralized platform exists for submitting complaints or feedback. Interagency coordination is present through different agencies of the government, but not consistent and effective. The focal point is not actively engaged in dispute resolution or policy feedbacks, as we have found from the questionnaire. Underdeveloped single window, which is getting developed by BIDA right now. And there is no structured follow-up or policy feedback loop, no system to track complaints, actually. Lack of regular engagement. Government investor meetings are infrequent in the country. Transparency around appeal, fairness, timeliness, and resolution is missing, contributing to investors' uncertainty. What's the status of the application process right now? There is limited review and sector-specific problems actually. No regular review of investment regulation in Bangladesh. Sector-specific guidelines for Chinese investors in renewable energy is lacking. Online checklists exist in some tender documents, but not standardized or comprehensive as per the investors. There are unclear timelines, no clear or published timeframes for processing applications. Decisions are communicated via email or public notices, but real-time updates are not provided. No standard practice of giving reasons for rejections or delays. There is no silent yes system, as we have come to know, to ease the procedural delay. Applications fees are listed on platforms like electronic government procurement, but not regularly reviewed for investors' impact, like what should be the price. No clarity on lead time between fee revision and amendments and enforcement. The fees are not reviewed regularly. Uncertainty about whether fees for accessing forms or documents are not clearly communicated. So investors don't know whether they have to pay for application or not. So in visa process, multiple entry visas are available and temporary entry rules are communicated. The processing times, renewal procedure, documents required are same as for general visitors. And this is not a good scenario. So these are the costs of regular visa. urgent visa, and multiple entry visa. The status regarding the cross-agency cooperation. We are actually talking about mostly government agencies and other stakeholders in the system. So there is limited coordination, as we all know. Capacity building efforts. Officials from agencies like BIDA actually participate to international training programs where they actually know the best practices of other countries, but these are actually not very regular. So BIDA is actually developing a supplier database to help Chinese investors, and we will be actually more than happy to get that in due time. There is lack of knowledge sharing. Best practices and facilitation information are rarely shared among stakeholders. Weak interagency coordination, as I have talked about earlier, because ministries of the government are not well coordinated. In recent times, BIDA has created some examples of efficient business investment facilitation for some of the sectors, but we want more of this. There is business government networking events create occasional dialogue, like the investment summit, as I have mentioned, but these are not actually very regular. These are yearly or annually. Consultation with investors happen, but are infrequent, limiting long-term policy impact.
Okay, I think you can skip that.
Okay, sir. Then the scope of merchant power plant in Bangladesh. So you will just, okay. So what is the scope of merchant power plant in Bangladesh? So the government of Bangladesh is trying to developing a policy framework for merchant power plants guided by experts involved in the Public Procurement Act to address the key issues. So there are actually some issues that should be discussed when talking about merchant power plant potential scenario of Bangladesh. So there is consumer-based management. Government already has infrastructure even in the rural areas of Bangladesh. So what happens in the merchant power plant system is that there are two entities, the investors and the consumers. Let's say H&M and Pran. So what happens is that they actually develop up. So for conglomerates, they can actually establish a power plant to meet their own demand. But what happens is that when they have surplus demand, they cannot sell it to the closer areas where residential in the enclosed residential areas, because there is conflict of interest. These are the customers of government. Government has invested a lot to provide to those consumers. So if there are merchant power plants, they want to sell power to the same consumer, there will be a conflict of interest. Also, there will be disruption in the price structure, as experts say. So government may find this unacceptable. So additional consideration, what is that? The transparency and investor confidence. So if an investor want to develop a joint power plant with say small and medium enterprise, so what happens is that the financial documents of Bangladeshi companies are not very transparent and not regularly updated, as we have found out. So investors are not actually confident to go into a joint venture with local companies actually. So if one of the company actually defaults, it actually creates a difficult situation for investors. For local conglomerate or local big producer, it is okay. If they can't sell power to a company that they have contracted, they can actually use the power for their own demand. But for foreign companies, they don't have their own demand, where to sell. They already have invested in their infrastructure, and there is nowhere to go now. So there is actually less visibility in that. So spot market development, actually I won't go into detail. Bangladesh actually is far away from a mechanism like this in the current scenario. A recommendation for improving investment facilitation environment.
Okay, thank you, Abrar. I think you can understand that we are discussing not about the big macro issues, but very much of micro level issues. And the investors, what they day-to-day level, what they have actually faced and confronted, and how that made their investments difficult in a country like Bangladesh. Maybe our policy may be good. It may be very flexible. FDI regime may be very flexible, but that is not enough, and that is not sufficient to attract the foreign investors in the country. As I said to you, is that we are still focusing on investment promotion, but we need to focus on facilitation part. And you are seeing a list of issues, very micro-level issues, but very critical for foreign investors. So that on that basis, we are actually prepare the recommendation part. We are actually providing our recommendations on 4 grounds. One on business establishment process, second one on open tendering process, third one on rooftop solar projects related issues, and fourth one was status of LOI. In case of the business establishment process, I think it is very important to simplify the administrative process. Simplification means reducing the number of forms and standardized documents. Being a digitalized country, why should we actually have to depend on so many documents, so many forms that is not yet fully understandable? So I think the government need to consider how to make the investors' life simple in terms of while they make their investment decision in this country. So there should be a simple checklist and a simple templates for online to guide the investors. And I think BIDA should coordinate these things with relevant agencies and ministries for smooth implementation. Because BIDA is not always the implementing authority. There are other authorities. Since BIDA is playing the umbrella role in case of the foreign investors, so BIDA should take the lead in case of simplification of the investment process as being maintained by different government agencies. Then is fully digitalize the registration and licensing stage. As Abrar mentioned, that we are half digital. So that half digital is actually meaning that we are still manual. Because if you finally need to go to visit to the investor's place, that means that the investors need to come to the country and to submit the documents there, meaning that it is fully manual. It is not actually the digital one. So what needs to be done is that integrated online platform for all registration and licensing processes, and accept all forms and documents digitally, and also an online platform options to be open. Then we are also requesting that implement online application status notification. Yes, what's the problem of actually informing the investors that his assessment process is at which stages, so that investors also get confidence in the process that it is under the review. So they will be not in the dark. So that is very, very important. And then it is to establish a foreign investor support desk. I think in all major of the Asian countries and South Asian countries, East Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries, they always offer a language-based help desk. Whether it is Chinese investors, whether it is Japanese investors, or whether it is investors from other languages. So we have to introduce foreign investors desk, and with having the translation facility, not only in English, but also in the investor's own language. So that is very, very important. And BIDA should assign officer to support companies, those companies which has no local presence. So that is important. Then it is the consolidate the licensing process. We have too many licenses. Why not make a bundle of all these major licenses, like trade license, TIN, VAT, industrial investment registration? Can those make it a single bunch of licenses, and through a single window, those could be approved? That is very, very important. And also, they need to have a one common portal, and also need to reduce the duplication cost, cutting cost, and speed up the approval process is very, very important. As you see, we are following the UNCTAD guideline, and as per the UNCTAD investment facilitation guideline, we are far, far behind. We are far, far behind the normal stage, and we have to improve our overall facilitation activities, not only in BIDA but also in other investment supporting agencies, BPDB, BERC, SREDA, and other agencies need to actually improve their whole process. Then establish a central document repository where investors can upload and store their common documents. That may be passport, that may be photos, and those can be used by the local agencies or the investors suitably as and when needed. And these documents can be reused as and when it has been needed, and that will reduce the paperwork and duplicate the works, and also reduce errors across agencies. And also improve access to information and support. As we mentioned, that there should be a 24/7 hotline and chatbot to address common investors' queries in real time. That is very, very important. Then we also suggest launch a one-stop online business portal, and which will be a centralized portal combining all services from name clearance to licensing. So, and this will also provide the status tracking. So that kinds of support to be there, and also alerts the missing documents. None of the applications should be cancelled just for minor problems. So that should be alerted digitally to the investors, and they will submit those documents for proper documentation. In case of the open tender process, we have suggested that that is also a digitalization issue, increase digitalization in the tendering process to minimize the physical paperwork. The recent open bidding system is partially digitalized, as we mentioned, but at the same time, we also mentioned that it should have the scope for online submission, particularly those foreign investors who don't have local presence. And that kinds of things to be made. Then institutional streamlining of approval processes, time-bound mechanism, always there should be a timeline to be maintained. That is very, very important. As Abrar also mentioned, a delay is not only a time cost, but also a cost of money as well. If an approval process takes more than a year, and the investors, particularly for the renewable sector, they have to buy lands, they have to take money from their home country here, and those money to be kept idle to the bank accounts, that's a cost for them. And most importantly, I will come to the later, when the LOI is cancelled, and now already they have already invested, and they have already have their bank account with money idle, what they will do now? As per the government regulations, no money can be transferred from here without government approval. But these companies has already got cancelled, and they have no legal identity now to transfer that money from here. And they already purchased the land, and those land cannot be sold now, home to sell. And how who will actually purchase that land? So they are also in a flux now because of this decision. So then the structured proposal status disclosure, as just mentioned, land price and development facilitation, as it is always wiser to identify the land, and if it is also wiser if government actually have the procured land and attract or invite the foreign investors to invest those lands. So that will be rather much easier for them. Because as you know, in case of the LCOE, the cost land price is the major cost of all the cost of operation for renewable energy investment. So if the land is being available for the foreign investors or the renewable energy investors, that make their life much more easier. In case of the bidder communication, I think, as we mentioned, there is a notification mechanism that is very, very essential. In Bangladesh, most of the cases, there is no such notification mechanism. Investors need to visit the official in his place or her place and to ask them the status, and they also don't know. The junior officer also sometimes don't know what is the status of it, because it is actually been kept at a higher level, and they are also not having the status information in their hand. So I think that need to have at least have a status level information at which stage it is, whether it is primarily selected or not. Those kinds of information make the investor's life easy. Then it is establishment of monitoring and driven mechanisms. Though we are mentioning that we are going for an open bidding and we are expecting that it will be a transparent mechanism, but investors are not fully confident on that. An open bidder doesn't necessarily ensure that it will be transparent. So because there is a multi-layered approval process and the submission of the bidding document cannot ensure the full assurance of the full supply chain to be open and transparent. Because the land procurement issue is there, the land development, land authorities are there, local level administration are there, all have a various kinds of different intentions in their mind. So it is, while we are actually opening the tender, it is positive, but at the same time, it is not ensured a transparency in all account. So what is necessary here is to monitoring and grievance system, where a dedicated oversight body to be there, who will monitor the tender assessment process, where the investors may also submit their grievances regarding the problems they confronted in the tendering process. So as Abrar mentioned, that creation of a dedicated power sector tender portal. I think in the PPA website, there may have a separate link for the power sector related proposals, so that investors can easily track and trace what are the new tenders are there, and what is the new proposal, and what is the status to be there in their submission proposals, if those are being developed. So what we request is to hire experts who are actually designing these kinds of friendly websites, and to make the websites much more easier. We are happy to note that BIDA has recently introduced its new website. It is a positive development, but as I say to you, is that it should not be just information sharing website. It should be an interactive website. It should be investors friendly website, not just to sharing information is not sufficient. For the rooftop solar project, addressing capacity limitations for establishments, as we mentioned, that they need to have a flexibility, because there may have a potentiality to generate more, and that facility to be make open. I think recently government has decided for 100% net metering facility to be allowed. So that is a one step forward in this regard. At the same time, to mitigating the risk of OPEX model, we have talked to the Chinese investors, and they are not fully confident to go for merchant-based power plant agreement or these kinds of OPEX model, because they are not fully confident that whether the local companies will continue their commitments after starting the operation. As Abrar mentioned, that sometimes the local companies' financial statements are not fully authentic, because the financial reporting is not fully done in a high standard auditing companies. So there is a problem for that. So what they are expecting to have a tripartite agreement, so that all kinds of financial obligations to be shared by three parties. One is service provider, one is the consumer, and one is the government. So under that agreement, so that the foreign investors could get confidence that they could claim their dues to the government, and the government will facilitate the repayment of the dues of the foreign companies. Regarding the LOI, I think for the interim government, there should have an interim arrangement. I think that is missing. While government has taken a decision to cancel the Quick Enhancement Act, we appreciated that. But at the same time, it is also true that because of under that of cancellation, they have also canceled the LOI which the previous government approved. We admit that a number of those LOIs have political intent. We admit that. But at the same time, it is also true that a good number of those are very much genuine cases. And as Abrar mentioned, already $300 million worth of investment has already made by the companies. And they are now in an stock with their stranded asset, both with their land they purchased as well as the money they have in their account. So who will actually bear the compensation? Government didn't actually respond to that. So I think government should sophisticatedly deal with these things. And of course, government has go for open bidding. We appreciate that. But for a special consideration, we are requesting government to go for an interim arrangement for those LOIs. And they should review those those which has really genuine merit of investment should allow, and those who have a political intent, they may request them to revise their board of directors and come forward with the new proposals. So these kinds of guarantee we are expecting from the government. And also all kinds of disputes to be fast tracked, and quicker solution and fairer solution is needed. And what I mentioned, that more transparent process to be followed in terms of the review, allow to reapply and give it a priority. Whether these companies could get priority in the new open bidding system, that could also be an option. Those who have not yet purchased the land could be an alternate option that the government can consider. So I think all these are very, very important for the investors to build confidence regarding the investment environment in the country. So with these words, I actually conclude my presentation. And what my final word is that it is good that government is like to move towards a rule-based, predictable system. But at the same time, it should make the not only in the macro level, but that type of rule-based system, transparent system, to be ensured at a micro level as well. So make the business setup easier, improve the tender and the rooftop processes, manage system transitions carefully, support early investors and government's past commitments, and ensure strong government coordination. Those are very, very important to promote and attract foreign investments, particularly overseas investments, Chinese investment in the country. So with these words, I am concluding my speech. Thank you for your patient hearing. I am taking 2 minutes for the journalist to deliberate in Bangla. আজকে আমরা আপনাদের এখানে যে বিষয়টি উপস্থাপন করেছি সে বিষয়টি হলো যে বিদেশি বিনিয়োগকারী, বিশেষ করে চীনা বিনিয়োগকারী যারা বাংলাদেশে রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি সেক্টরে বিনিয়োগে উৎসাহী, তারা বিনিয়োগ করতে গিয়ে যে ধরনের ইনভেস্টমেন্ট সাইকেলে যে ধরনের সমস্যাগুলোর মধ্যে পড়েন সেগুলো আমরা চিহ্নিত করতে চেয়েছি, এবং সেগুলোর সমাধান গভর্নমেন্ট কিভাবে করতে পারবেন সেগুলো সমাধানের কিছু পথরেখা আমরা দেবার চেষ্টা করেছি। আমরা দেখেছি যে বাংলাদেশ এখন পর্যন্ত যেভাবে বিনিয়োগকে আকৃষ্ট করতে যাচ্ছে, এগুলো হচ্ছে বিনিয়োগ সহায়তা সম্পর্কিত, অর্থাৎ ইনভেস্টমেন্ট প্রমোশন সম্পর্কিত। কিন্তু ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ফ্যাসিলিটেশন, যেটা কিনা প্রকৃতার্থেই বিনিয়োগের জন্য গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, সেই ধরনের ফ্যাসিলিটেশনের উদ্যোগগুলো এখন পর্যন্ত কার্যকরভাবে আমাদের এখানে নেওয়া যায়নি। বিনিয়োগকারীরা, আমরা যখন কথা বলেছি, তারা যেটা বোঝাতে চেয়েছেন, বাংলাদেশে যত ইনসেন্টিভ দেওয়া হচ্ছে তার থেকেও এই ইনসেন্টিভের চেয়েও গুরুত্বপূর্ণ হলো যে ধরনের অবস্ট্যাকলসগুলো হচ্ছে, সেই অবস্ট্যাকলসগুলো তাদেরকে ইনভেস্টমেন্টের পথে বেশি সমস্যা তৈরি করছে। সুতরাং অবস্ট্যাকলসগুলো বরঞ্চ দূর করা দরকার, এমনকি যদি ইনসেন্টিভ নাও থাকে অবস্ট্যাকলসগুলো দূর করা দরকার, এটা তাদের দিক থেকে একটা বড় দাবি। এবং সেজন্য আমরা আংটাডের যে স্ট্রাকচার, সেই স্ট্রাকচার ফলো করে ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ফ্যাসিলিটেশনের যে 8টি কাঠামো, সেটিকে ফলো করে আমরা দেখেছি যে অধিকাংশ ক্ষেত্রে আমাদের ইনভেস্টমেন্ট এজেন্সিগুলো আংটাড স্ট্যান্ডার্ডের চেয়ে অনেক পিছিয়ে রয়েছে। সেই জায়গা থেকে আমরা যখন রিকমেন্ডেশনগুলো নিয়ে এসেছি, আমরা রিকমেন্ডেশনগুলোর মধ্যে মনে করি যে যখন একটা বিদেশি কোম্পানি এখানে যখন ইনভেস্ট করতে আসেন, তাদের ইনভেস্টমেন্টের এই সহায়ক পরিবেশটাকে ফুললি ডিজিটালাইজ কিভাবে করা যায়। এবং আমরা প্রায়শই যেগুলো ডিজিটাল শুনি, এটা আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি এগুলো আসলে ফুললি ডিজিটাল না, হাফ ডিজিটাল, সেমি ডিজিটাল, কোয়ার্টার ডিজিটাল। এগুলোর মানে কিন্তু হচ্ছে এগুলো ম্যানুয়াল। মনে রাখবেন যে 90% ডিজিটাল ইজ ইকুইভ্যালেন্ট টু ম্যানুয়াল। সুতরাং এই যে ম্যানুয়াল সিস্টেম এখনো পারসিস্ট করছে, এটা দিয়ে আসলে আমাদের ফরেন ইনভেস্টরদেরকে আমরা অ্যাট্রাক্ট করতে পারবো না। যারা এখানে বিনিয়োগ করেন তারা তাদের ট্র্যাক করতে পারে না তাদের ইনভেস্টমেন্ট প্রপোজালগুলো কোন অবস্থায় রয়েছে। তারা এগুলো যখন লাইসেন্স রেজিস্ট্রেশন নিতে যান, ভিন্ন ভিন্ন লোকের কাছে যেতে চায়। এগুলো যদি বান্ডল করে একটা জায়গা থেকে এই প্রপোজালগুলো পাওয়া যেত, সেটা তাদের জন্য সুবিধা হতো। সুতরাং এক্ষেত্রে বিডা আমব্রেলা অর্গানাইজেশন হিসেবে কাজ করতে পারে বলে আমরা মনে করি। যখন এটা বিনিয়োগে যাচ্ছে, টেন্ডার প্রসেস যখন শুরু হচ্ছে, যদিও সরকার বলছেন যে তিনি ওপেন টেন্ডার অ্যালাউ করছেন, কিন্তু আমরা বিনিয়োগকারীরা মনে করছেন যে প্রসেসটা ওপেন টেন্ডার বললেও এটা ট্রান্সপারেন্ট না এখনো। তার কারণ হচ্ছে ওপেন টেন্ডার হয়তো সাবমিশন পর্যায়ে ওপেন টেন্ডার, কিন্তু এটা যখন ইভ্যালুয়েশন হয়ে ফাইনালি তিনি যখন ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করতে যাবে সেখানে বহু হাত রয়েছে, বহু এজেন্সি রয়েছে যাদেরকে তাদের ডিল করতে হবে, তাতে গিয়ে তাদের বিজনেস কস্ট বেড়ে যাবে, ফলে তখন তার কম্পিটিটিভ প্রাইসে সেটার কিন্তু রিফ্লেক্ট করাটা তার জন্য ডিফিকাল্ট। সুতরাং এই যে ট্রান্সপারেন্সি বলছি, কিন্তু ফুল ট্রান্সপারেন্সি করাটা কিন্তু এখনো নিশ্চিত করাটা আগামী দিনের জন্য দরকার হবে। এই জায়গাতে আমরা সাজেস্ট করেছি এক ধরনের ওভারসাইট মনিটরিং এজেন্সি রাখা যায় কিনা, যারা কিনা এই ইনভেস্টরদের গ্রিভেন্সগুলো দেখবে, মনিটর টেন্ডারিং প্রসেসগুলো ফলো করবে এবং এগুলো তারা স্যাম্পল বেসিসে চেক করে দেখবে এখানে কোনো সমস্যা রয়েছে কিনা। এবং ফাইনালি আমরা এলওআই নিয়ে যেটা বলেছি, যে ক্যান্সেল এলওআইগুলো হয়েছে, আমাদের কাছে মনে হয়েছে এটা গভর্নমেন্ট একটু তড়িৎ এবং হার্শ একটা সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়ে ফেলেছে। অন্তর্বর্তী সরকার হিসেবে সরকারের জন্য বেশ কিছু ইতিবাচক সিদ্ধান্তকে আমরা প্রশংসা করেছি এবং সেই কারণে ক্যান্সেল করে দেওয়ার সিদ্ধান্তটাও, কুইক এনহান্সমেন্ট একটা ক্যান্সেল করে দেওয়াটাও আমরা ইতিবাচকভাবেও দেখেছি। কিন্তু তারপরেও পূর্ববর্তী সরকারের সময় যেগুলো অ্যাগ্রিমেন্ট হয়ে গেছে বা এলওআই হয়ে গিয়েছে, সেইগুলোর জন্য অন্তত একটা অন্তর্বর্তী ব্যবস্থা প্রয়োজন। আমরা মনে করি ওই 37টি এলওআইয়ের ভিতরে সবগুলোই রাজনৈতিক উদ্দেশ্য প্রণোদিত মনে করার দরকার নেই। এটাতে বিদেশি বিনিয়োগকারীরা রয়েছেন, তারা ইতিমধ্যে বিনিয়োগ করে ফেলেছেন এবং প্রায় $300 মিলিয়ন মতো বিনিয়োগ হয়েছে। এখন তারা এটা যখন ক্যান্সেল হচ্ছে, এই অর্থ তারা ফেরতও নিতে পারছেন না, যে জমি কিনছেন সেটা তারা বিক্রিও করতে পারছেন না। এই যে একটা বড় স্ট্যান্ডার্ড অ্যাসেট নিয়ে তারা বসে আছেন, এটা আমাদের বিনিয়োগ পরিবেশের জন্য ইতিবাচক নয়। আমরা মনে করি এই 37টি এলওআই এর ব্যাপারে একটি রিভিউ কমিটি করে সহানুভূতির সাথে যেগুলোকে নেওয়া যায় দ্রুত নেওয়া, যেগুলোর বোর্ড পরিবর্তন দরকার সেগুলোকে বোর্ড পরিবর্তনের জন্য সাজেশন দেওয়া এবং সেই ভিত্তিতে একটা পজিটিভ ভাইব বিনিয়োগকারীদের কাছে দিলে, অন্য যে ওপেন টেন্ডার প্রসেসে যে এখন আমরা টেন্ডার পাচ্ছি না, তার একটা বড় কারণ হচ্ছে বিনিয়োগকারীরা অলরেডি একটা দ্বিধার মধ্যে পড়ে গেছে। সুতরাং ওপেন টেন্ডার প্রসেসকেও যদি প্রমোট করতে হয়, তাহলেও এই এলওআইগুলোর একটা শান্তিপূর্ণ সমাধান প্রয়োজন। এটুকু বলে আমি আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করছি। Thank you for your passion sharing. I and my colleague has taken a long time for making the presentation. Let me actually go for the open floor for the distinguished discussants' remarks on various issues. At this stage, I am likely to invite Mr. Wang Weiquan. He is online and he's in airport. Deputy Secretary General, Chinese Renewable Energy Industries Association. Mr. Wang, you know that China is a major investor in Bangladesh and your country is front runner in renewable energy investments. Given your wide experience, could you please help us some of the important suggestions for promoting Bangladesh's renewable energy market, particularly for the foreign investors, Chinese investors in Bangladesh? Over to you.
喂，各位听得到吗？我用中文讲。
Yes, can you hear me?
Wait.
I'll speak in Mandarin.
喂，您能听到吗？
Can you hear us?
翻译。
Yes, we can hear.
喂，好的，所以我说中文，麻烦您给翻译一下。
Okay, I will speak in Chinese and my translator will translate for
好，
me.
各位上午好。
Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I'm very happy to attend the
刚才
meeting
前
today.
面的专家也详细的介绍了
I've heard insightful views from experts about the sustainable energy development in Bangladesh. I will share my view from three aspects. First,
在可再生能源方面有哪些
in
经验
terms of
可以或者
sustainable
可能为
energy
孟加拉所
development,
借鉴
what
所用
the Chinese side
那
has
在这个
to
方
be
面呢，
learned
我
by
觉得中国
Bangladesh.
在
So
可
I
再生能
will
源方
share
面做
some
了大量的
experience
工
of
作。
China. I think
第一
China
个
has
方面呢是
accumulated
政策的
a lot
整
of
个政策框
experience.
架制定。
First,
那这个
China
因为我们都知道可再
establishes
生能源
a
的发展是
comprehensive
离不开
framework.
政策的
We
大
know
力支
that
持，所以
sustainable
中国
energy
在可再生能源的发展
department
过程
is
上面是
inseparable
制定
from
了
the
一个
strong
非
support
常
of policies.
详细的
So
完
on
备
the
的
Chinese
政
side,
策体系。
we
那这
have
个
a
政策体系就
thorough
包
and
括
complete
有可再生能源
policy
法、
framework.
有
It includes
规划、
the
有
sustainable
标准
energy law.
和激励
It
政策。
includes
那
planning.
中国
It
是
includes
2005年就
incentives From 2005, early in 2005, China had its sustainable energy law, which is a foundation for the development of this area. It stimulates many mechanisms, such as the fixed uh, feed-in tariff and the total volume purchase policy and the special fund policy and so on. All of these have laid a solid pavement for sustainable energy development. China also has many 5-year plans, for example, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th 5-year plans for renewable energy, such as hydrogen energy, solar energy, and so on. All of these actually release good signals to the market that, well, the government is going to advance these industries, and then the market, please pay attention. So these are good signals. And also, in the development goals and key tasks, the market players will boost their confidence and they will be attracted to get into this sector and invest. As for standard, China has formulated more than 1,000 energy standards, including hydropower, biomass, photovoltaics, and so on. And these all include equipment projects, power grids, products, and so on. All of these ensure the quality of project implementation. On the other hand, by standardization, we reduce the cost for product establishment and construction because everything is standard. It's easier for maintenance. And in terms of incentive policies, China has given exemption policies for land use and value-added taxes and so on. These kind of taxes and for the feed-in tariff policy, these incentives increase the ROI for investors. This attracts more investors to come into this field. So that's my aspect one about policy. The second aspect, it's about the electrification for those regions where power cannot be covered. Before 2005, some rural remote areas cannot access electricity, but China gives some clean energy to remote people, especially through the off-grid energy. So these projects popularize the knowledge about sustainable energy so that more people are aware of renewable energy. In addition, people accumulate experience in project construction and also talent training. Now China has more than 7 million people who are engaged in renewable energy, accounting for half of the world's total in this regard. So we trained the policymakers, we trained the skilled workers. This talent is a base for the development of China's sustainable energy. And also we carry out cooperation with many other countries. Actually, we didn't start it by ourselves. Since about 2000, China got support from many countries such as the US, UK, Canada, Denmark, Germany, Japan, and so on, and also some international organizations such as UNDP, the World Bank, the Global Environment Facility, and so on. They gave China funding, training, and so on, all of which laid favorable conditions for China's sustainable energy performance. And we've boosted the R&D and cost reduction. We increase the efficiency of sustainable uh, energy while reducing its cost so that it is available to everyone. So, in the aforementioned aspects, China really has accumulated a lot of experience. I believe these can be learned by Bangladesh because this is a country where the sustainable energy is growing very rapidly. That's my point that I want to share with you. And I also want to share with you about the successful cases for FDIs from around the globe. I think China is one of the countries that has done a lot of work for foreign investment. I can summarize them into the following points. First, if you want to attract foreign investment, you need to have a level playing field. It means in the bidding, in the tendering, in the subsidy regards, the foreign companies should share the same benefits as your local companies. Secondly, you should streamline, simplify the procedures, the formalities during the establishment stage so that these companies can start up very quickly. Third, you need to help solve the financing problems of foreign enterprises because many foreign companies are hindered at the first step of financing. So, this is a problem, and also the foreign exchange problem. For these companies, their money can enter freely and go freely, so they can be confident to invest. That's point two. Point three, to establish an effective renewable energy investment system. What should we do? I think we can improve this from the following aspects. First, we need to improve the expectations for the development of the industry. What does that mean? It means we need to ensure that this industry is stable for long term so the investors can come. They know that the risk is low. Secondly, improve the economics of the project. It means the ROI is high. So the banks will think, well, this project should be financed. It is bankable. So in this way, the financial institutions and investors will think the risk is low and they are willing to enter. Third, there should be a reasonable energy price. I mean, the electricity price, which is a core factors for investors. Fourth, the approval procedures should be streamlined. As aforementioned by you experts, maybe a project takes 1 to 2 years for approval. It's too long. Maybe it can be shortened to half a year and even 3 months. And the last, innovation in the financial area is required. Sustainable energy is an emerging industry. It is different from traditional industries. It has its unique advantages and disadvantages. So you may need to have some earmarked foundations. You may have some asset securitization such as ABS. You can have some green insurance, green bond, low interest loans, and so on. These financial innovations can solve the headaches in financing and improve the return, improve the profitability of investment so that more financial institutions and organizations can come to Bangladesh, and this will continuously promote the scale of this industry. And this is a virtuous cycle. The bigger the scale, the more institutions are coming. So they promote each other. That's my share. That's my thoughts and observations with you. And again, I want to say that, as the host has said, China and Bangladesh have a long-lasting cooperation, and we have some complementarity to each other. So we hope that in the future we can have a lot of cooperation, including policy making, financing, talent training, and so on. I hope in the future we will have more opportunities for cooperation. Thank you again for inviting me. Thank you. That's all from my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wang Wei-Kwan, for your very valuable and thoughtful suggestions and remarks. I think you have very rightly identified how China domestically and internationally work on to promote renewable energy. At the same time, what are the possible areas for Bangladesh to improve? That you also indicated and provided some very good suggestions. So that will be very much helpful for us in the future to finalize our report as well. Thank you for joining despite having in a travel mode. So let me now invite Mr. Shohidur Rahman, Country Manager, Jinko Solar. Could you please indicate some overall experience of Chinese investors' investment in Bangladesh in the renewable energy sector? And what's your experience regarding open tender system?
Thank you, CPD, for inviting me. So basically, I'm Shahidur, country manager of Jinko Solar. So we are purely solar manufacturing company, and we are top company in the world. We delivered more than 300 gigawatt, and in Bangladesh we delivered more than 300 megawatt till now, and we delivered this year the largest project, the CMC Northwest 81 megawatt project. And we also delivered a lot of rooftop projects like Buet, Joshua Cantonment, Paragon, and many more. So basically, I want to share some insights. Like in Bangladesh, a lot of traders, they also import unauthorized solar panels. So the generation is less when using the unauthorized product. So the government body should take care to make some barrier to use the original and base solar panels where generation will be higher. And when the investor found that the generation is better using the base solar modules, inverters, and when they found it that is profitable, definitely they will come to invest in Bangladesh. And this is the thing. And another thing for the IPP segment, actually, in other countries like India, in Brazil, in African countries, government take care for the land acquisition, land settlement. If our land ministry takes some initiative to manage this kind of thing, land, because land is the most vital thing for the solar projects, then it will be helpful to grow the IPP projects. And also another barrier for the renewable energy sector in Bangladesh, the grid implementation. The transmission line construction. If PGCB and government body also take initiative for this kind of thing, I think it will be also helpful to grow the IPP projects. Another issue I want to come again for the rooftop projects, because this is the thing which is continuously coming in Bangladesh. For the net metering policy, I want to add that SREDA, BSTI, they take a lot of time for the approvals. If sometimes it also take more than 1 month. If they make easy the process, it will be helpful for the local and foreign investors for making the investment in Bangladesh. So this is the few things I want to tell. Thanks again, CPD and everyone for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shohidur Rahman. You very specifically highlight some of the issues. One important part is unauthorized panel. So that is a growing concern. And we are visiting the suburb areas, rural areas, where this rooftop solar is getting prominent. But we also see that in the local electric shops, various kinds of substandard rooftop, substandard panels are being sold there. And there is no such standards been maintained properly there. So I think it is one of the area where where SREDA need to take proper standardization, and its monitoring is very, very important from its side. Let me invite Engineer S.K. Mohammad Ruhul Amin, Deputy Managing Director, Chin Solar Bangladesh Company Limited. Could you please actually share the challenges for the investors now currently facing, particularly Chinese investors, in investing in Bangladesh?
Thank you. Thank you all respected guests and organizers. Actually, I think Mr. Moajem and also his colleague already mentioned all points where the challenge for the investment of the Chinese or foreign investment in Bangladesh on renewable energy sector. But I would like to say the mainly challenge is the clear policy on the renewable energy and unsecured investment policy. If I want to say, the 37 project already temporarily suspended. But as an investor, we want to know where the corruption had done. They mentioned that the corruption, but government or related ministry at least don't review the all project. All corruption are not same. If the all are corrupted, it's okay, but all corruption are not same. We want to know the particular corruption where had done. As an investor, already we had done the investment, and already we transferred the money to Bangladesh through proper channel. Already we bought the land, and already our some money, a lot of money in the ideal in the bank account. Every year we give the tax and submit the yearly tax return. But we don't get any solution from the government about our investment or where the corruption had done. At least I would like to request, like Mr. Moajem already said that, I would like to request to the related ministry, at least they have to review the all 37 projects, and they have to mention where the corruption and where and not. Some project had done by the 3 to 4 months, the LOI they get, and some project more than the 5 years, like us, the foreign investor. Our project take the more than the 5 years. So we have to know where had done the corruption. So I would like to request to the related department or ministry to review the all project. If the corruption had done, yes, you just inform us, and you have to give us the decision about our investment or which money already we transfer to the Bangladesh, how we return it to our country. This is the one thing. Another thing, yes, there is the government had big event like the summit, investment summit, for the attract to the new foreign investor. But who had done the investment already in Bangladesh, who are already present in Bangladesh, government don't think about that. So this is the questionable. Actually government had done the summit for the new investor, foreign investor, or they actually invited to the foreign investor to the invest. Who had done the investment, they don't take care, and also feel left out the investor. How investors are interested to invest further. This is the one question. Another question is the government announced the merchant power plant. It's okay, it's really good, but there is no any clear policy about the foreign investor. Already Mr. Moajem mentioned that. No any clear policy about the foreign investor. How the foreign investor invest there when their investment are not secured. Already many investors face a lot of problem after investment. Maybe Mr. Moajem said that the more than $300 million already invested. But related ministry or government don't care about this. They have to give the decision about this. Either this is what's the future decision for this, or how they can invest further. And about the tender, we obviously we most welcome about the tender. This is the transparent procedure. But present tender, this is really question marks about the Mr. Muazzam mentioned. This is really tender is for the implement of the renewable energy or not. Already 1 year, nearby 1 year passed, but no outcome from the tender. There is the many lackings and findings. Already, as I know, the many meetings are done and many information already goes to the ministry, but don't take any action about the information or feedback from the investor or feedback from the tender attendees. I think the all point already mentioned by the Mr. Muazzam and others, his colleagues. Just I would like to request again to review the all 37 project and gives the decision on this, and also gives the decision about the investment, and also need the clear policy for the renewable energy sector investment. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ruhul Amin. I think you rightly pointed out, and one important point that you mentioned, that regarding the merchant power purchase agreement, I think they need to have a clear policy directions regarding foreign investors. So that's very important. Now let me actually take you to another aspects. We are discussing about the generation, but there are local companies who are also already successful in manufacturing, solar panel manufacturing, and they are already started exporting. Mr. Masudur Rahman, Chief Executive Officer, Omera Renewable Energy Limited. Could you please share your experience in the manufacturing part? How much you see the potential, and how is the potential for the local market as well as in terms of the export?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Muazzam. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Already you have introduced about me that I am a Chief Executive Officer of Omera Solar. So recently, one news in the market that we have already gone to manufacturer of solar panel. That is a international standard. That is by the cooperation of our Chinese friends, and the technology what we have brought in our country. That is the Chinese friends, they have done our projects very successfully in Bangladesh. In the last 1 year, we have gone through various equipments of international standard, that is the equipments. And finally, we have successfully export to USA market after starting. That is, there are a lot of regulations in the US market, you already know that. And the certification process and so many, that is the queries of about wafer and the cells, that already we have overcome. And our current, that is the production capacity is 600 megawatt. This is the first phase, and our plan is it move to the 3 gigawatt capacity in future. And already we have got more than 70 megawatt orders, and we are gradually make the shipments. And also in process of 300 megawatts, another, that is the customer is in discussions. So what I am saying that it is a great opportunity for our Bangladesh entrepreneurs and the Chinese entrepreneurs as well. The word here I want to mention that CPD mentioned that the recent challenges. This word I like it. And then the second thing is that way forward. The recent challenges, it also covers in the investment in manufacturing plant of solar panels. Also the one of the important thing, because investment when the entrepreneur will bring in the other countries, when they will see the infrastructure, the another word is the facilitation is also very important. Whether the Bangladesh government is encouraging the Chinese friends to invest in the solar industry, not only the utility projects and also the solar panel manufacturing and also the backward linkage, that is the cell manufacturing plant. It has also the great opportunity in Bangladesh. Why I am saying that, our Chinese friends may come to the Bangladesh only because of the infrastructure of the investments and the repatriation of dividend facilities is also not very friendly here. Still, we are in a discussing phase. Very good thing have mentioned CPT that BIDA, what they are doing, actually BIDA is doing a, that is like a marketing and the campaigning, promotioning, but they need to make a clear proposal to the foreign investments like Chinese investments. Why I am saying here is important is that Chinese investment, Chinese in globally, they have a very strong footprint in the renewable energy sector. Only the country which are very greatly appreciated in every areas of the globe that in a renewable energy sector. Recently, I have visited in African one exhibitions in the Nairobi, and I have seen that there have also very, that is the clear guideline about to implement the renewable energy opportunities. So why we cannot do this in our country as well? We can only possible it if we clearly understand the opportunity and we clearly target the future, that is the opportunities as well. So I think that according to the global, that is the investment opportunities, Bangladesh is a very right place for the solar manufacturing at this moment. So our local, that is the entrepreneurs can come over with this opportunity along with our good Chinese friends, as they are in a very, already they have expertise in these areas and have also the opportunity they know where the market is very open for the Bangladesh, and Bangladesh will be the more, that is the great field for the renewable energy sector in the panel manufacturing and as well as the export to the other Europe and USA market as well. And African market is also very growing and can target the African market, our local manufacturers. So Chinese friends can come up with a local, that is the business houses, and then they can set off the factories here and will bring Bangladesh more foreign investments in this sector. This is our, that is the perception and the opportunities what we have seen, and our East Coast group is also planning to set up the solar cell, that is the second phase, the solar cell manufacturing in Bangladesh, which will be fully the export oriented to the other countries as well. The second thing that I like to mention a few things about the utility projects and the rooftop projects. Utility projects, I could not bring my, that is the message very long, very clear, that is aligned with the CPD. Bring the LOIs, please bring the LOIs which you have already cancelled and which can build a confidence to the foreign investors. If they review, if the interim government, they review the LOIs, where all the LOIs are not politically motivated. There are many potential investors are there who have already invested in their various fields, like they purchased the land, they have done the feasibility study of the projects, and so many, that is the thing they have done already. So if the positively we see that we bring those LOIs and review again, it will build a confidence to the investors. The second thing is that there are a lot of, that is the open tendering method, there is a questions. Example, there is the termination clause, absence of implementation agreements, and no payment guarantee, different tariff structures, which cannot motivate the foreign investments. This is very, very important. So I request to the interim government to review those things very carefully which attract the foreign investments, especially to the Chinese investors. Why? Because they are already in the globally very reported, and they are very aggressive to the market right now. The third thing is that the rooftop solar projects. We can also invite our Chinese friends to the rooftop solar projects in the various areas, but there are no clear guidelines. So only the net metering guidelines are there, but the other policies also very, very important. Though it is a private sector relationships, but must need government, that is the guideline in this area as well, so that foreign investments or the will come very easily in this case. So this is my opinion and then my observations, what I have aligned with the CPD, and very strongly again say that already we have wasted many times in these areas. It is need to bring the maturity of the renewable energy investments. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Masood. I think very happy to hear that you are already in the manufacturing and already exporting, and you see good potentials for manufacturing and exporting solar cell in the future. Let's wait for that. I'm sure that you have also intend to sell your products in the local market as well. Let me invite Mr. Mustafa Al Mahmood, President, Bangladesh Sustainable and Renewable Energy Association, BSREA. I like to hear from Mustafa Al Mahmood Bhai, is that how your association is facilitating the various kinds of investors' requirements and the various kinds of challenges that they confront, and how do your organization facilitate in those areas?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mojam, as well as the honorable guest and presence you are here. I'm very happy and very honored to be here today to discuss about our BSRE and also the Chinese investment, third China-Bangladesh Renewable Energy Forum investment issues. Actually, BSRE is playing the role as a trade organization. Most of the member actually in Bangladesh, the business association is member of BSRE. And we are playing the very vital role as a bridge with government and private sector. Most of the issues has been raised, which is we got from our private sector. We are sharing, also discussing with every stakeholder of the government. In the meantime, you will be happy to know that we are working since long, and from the beginning of this government, our focus was to ensure the renewable energy policy and also the net metering guideline, which already has been approved, a policy. You know, within 2030, we'll have at least 20% of renewable energy from renewable energy. It is almost 6,000 megawatt. It is the requirement is within 30. It's very short time. That means market is going to be open for the renewable energy sector. In other hand, of course, many of issue is not solved yet, like the net metering guideline is not approved yet. We are working on it. Hopefully, it will be approved very soon. And in the meantime, we got the message, which is Mr. Muajam also explained, that our Honorable Chief Advisor has been addressed. All the government buildings, roofs has to be in solar. That is also good, the market development is there. Actually, the BSRE is always is working on renewable energy sector to be ensure that all the barrier has to be removed to work and also in the develop the market. This is the main fundamental in our target. Actually, it is going to be gradually working on it. About the cancellation issues of the LOI, this is also our one of the main reasons to discuss with the government. And we all know that it is a negative impact for the foreign investor has been happened. We would like to remove these issues and also discuss with the several time with the advisors and then chief advisors and then all the ministers, the secretariat. That has to be removed. Actually, Mr. Ruhul Amin also said this issue. Many of the company already has been invested. That is how to be returned, how to be get back this money, and also how to resolve this issue. This is really very important issues now, actually. I believe the authorities has to be resolved this issue as early as possible, which is much required. And if we go for the investment, from globally, of course, globally there is investment for Bangladesh, the opportunities. But about the renewable sector, that is actually one of the key players is Chinese investor. Why? This is very simple. One of the technology provider that number one or the mostly it is from China. As well as they have the experience. Also, they have the capability to work for the foreign investment. And now our requirement is very simple. It has to be comfort zone for investor has to come invest in Bangladesh. And actually, we are working on it with the government. If there is the investment come for renewable sector, it has to be a comfort zone for the investor. I believe that this issue also has been resolved as early as possible. Because without the foreign investment is not feel the target such a big amount of renewable energy development in Bangladesh. Like we know very well, if it is 2030, we have to build 6,000 megawatt for the renewable. We need the foreign investment. In the meantime, we know the 55 number of project has been open bidding, and we found that mostly the local company has been awarded. Of course, local company awarded is not our any concern. Of course, it is good for this. But of course, we need also lending. I don't know the lender will be lended this kind of project or not. This is a really big issue. We have discussed several banks, other financial institutions, and I'm working with many of the Chinese companies for investor to work with for the utility scale project. But I don't find anyone to join this kind of bidding. This is also one of the, I think, red signal for the investment procedure. My recommendation is very clear. The barrier has to be removed for foreign investor, mostly Chinese investor is there. On the other hand, it has, the documentation process has to be as much as shorter. Is now the time for the robotic system, now the time for the AI. How could we can continue such a 2, 3, 4 years for the approval process? It has to be removed as early as possible. Thank you so much. And BSRE is always ready for all the investors to facilitate. Our secretariat very stronger now, and we are always supporting to our members continuously what is going on the market, and also the studies and reports, and also the opportunities. I believe we all can work together to develop this renewable energy market. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mustafa Al Mahmood, President BSREA. We like to see BSREA as one of our most powerful private investors association like BGMEA. So in the future, we like to see you much more powerful in the investors domain. At this stage, let me invite Mr. Han Kun, President, Chinese Enterprises Association, Bangladesh. I think being the president, you have lots of experience working with the government, working with the private sector, policymakers. So from those experience, how you like to suggest that how Bangladesh renewable energy sector could grow in the future?
Thank you so much for CPT to invite me to as a panelist to share some experience where Chinese investor have in Bangladesh. So firstly, CAB is an association where mostly Chinese companies are there. So far, we have around 270 members. So around 20 or 30 global Fortune 500 companies. So our members, mostly 60% was coming from infrastructure sector, including power and energy. And also there are another big part is from ready-made garments. So around 20% is coming from ready-made garments. Still, there are some ICTs, aviation sectors, and our other servicing and the logistic sectors. So overall, we have been present in Bangladesh for around 25 years. So it is the biggest Chinese association in Bangladesh. So today, I think that I would like to first share some, since the topic is renewable and the Chinese investment and the Chinese investor policy suggestions and the policy discuss. So that's, I would like to share some data which Chinese investment globally, we put Bangladesh in the global horizon. So we can see that how we can work with each other to bring the best and optimal benefits to the economy. So according to the recent data, since 2013, Chinese companies and investors have been engaged in about 100 billion in electricity projects in Asia only. Asia only. So this is the first number. Another number is 80% of the global solar PV manufacturing capacity and around 55% of the global manufacturing capacity for onshore wind turbine, and also projected to reach 70 to 80% by 2030 for the offshore wind turbines. So that means Chinese investors in the renewable sector globally, especially in the Asian market, is quite a big presence here. Another number I would like to share is that 2023, let me find the exact number in case. So in 2023 only, China engaged about 3.5 billion in energy investment in Asia Pacific only. So further, Chinese bank provide 65% of financing for Chinese renewable energy projects overseas until 2022. China has potential to provide significant future financing opportunities for Asian countries to build electricity generation capacity. So this is the general number and the latest number where Chinese investment presence in the Asian economies. So coming back to the Bangladesh. So Bangladesh adjust its renewable target as 20% by 2030 and 30% by 2041, which is also a little bit ambitious because so far the grid-connected renewable solar is less than 3%. So coming to 20% within a short time is quite an ambitious target. We appreciated that, but also there are some cases. So in our presentation slides on the one page, you mentioned that so far Chinese investment among the largest in Bangladesh. That is true, totaling 2.65 billion. Actually, this number is much less. According to our association statistics, it is around 11 billion US dollar, including finance and equity and debt finance. So this number is much less. So come to another number that 15.1 of FDI in 2024. Still, this number is much devalued. So I think Chinese presence not only in the Asia economies but also in Bangladesh economy, we have a big share in the power and the energy market. So this is some general information. That means the potentials are there. What is the potential? Demand potential are there because we have a big ambitious target, but still at this moment is a big gap in the renewable sector. And another potential is that financing potential, equity investors, equity investment, and also debt financing with some financial institutions is still huge. So, but anyway, Chinese presence is a global horizon. So if Bangladesh could catch this opportunity, I think will be good for the future. So this is the general numbers I would like to share. So today's presentation and the dialogue is quite important, especially at the recommendation session. Very pragmatic and a very result and result-oriented recommendations. I personally appreciated that. But this presentation has one assumption that more and more Chinese investment will come to Bangladesh. Based on this assumption that this presentation was made, that we need to do some investment facilitation. But according to our associations observe, actually this assumption could put one question mark, because there are a lot of difficulties recently encountered by Chinese investors, either already invested here or someone who have some interest to come to Bangladesh. So from this area, so I would like to share some points, which may sound a little bit negative, but still, when we address the negative impact, we are targeting for the positive result. So that means we are looking forward a solution positively could address the problem by both government of Bangladesh and the Chinese investors. So the problem we are recently encountering that the first one is very serious one is power purchase tariff and the terms renegotiation. That is a huge disaster for an investor to make such decision. Because when we made such power investment, we need to consider around 20, 25 or 30 years. But when your project is already coming to the commercial operation or almost coming to the commercial operation, you are being informed that your tariff structure are going to be changed. Your terms and conditions are going to be changed. So that is a disaster for the investor who already make investment here. So the problem is that discouragement to the new investors. So when someone heard that the one already come here are going to be renegotiated, then they will not come easily. I can say not easily. So recently, amid the shifting policy direction, several landmark power projects, including Budua Kali 1320 megawatts coal-fired power plant, Burisho coal-fired power plant, SSI power plant with 1320 megawatts, all thermal, have recently received notice including to renegotiate the electricity tariff terms outlined in the existing PPA. So it is to highlight that abrupt renegotiation may inadvertently signal unpredictability to international investors. Past global experience show that such action can undermine long-term investor confidence, increase financing costs for future infrastructure projects, and delay energy transition goals. So this is the first barrier which we are facing seriously. The second one is delayed payment of electricity bills and the challenges in foreign exchange settlement. So one company, SPIC wind power project, continue to face delayed electricity bill payment. Around 1.45 million is deducted from due payment, citing the reason of delayed performance bond, though such penalty clause seems not speculated in the PPA. SSI Power Limited Company with 1320 megawatts project experienced delayed payment. Cumulative arrays often surpass $200 million. So Burisho Power Generation Company continue to be affected by arbitrary deduction and the long-standing delays in electricity bill payments. So another problem is the convertibility between US dollar and Bangladesh taka. So it is not attainable as it was being guaranteed in the implementation agreement, resulting in financial losses to the investor, for they have to purchase US dollar through unfavorable currency conversion exposure. Sometimes they have to go to the commercial bank to buy the US dollar to servicing their debt. So the difference of such official published exchange rate and a commercially purchased exchange rate creates a lot of uncertainty for the investor. The third problem is a change in law. So as most of our participants discussed, that LOI previously award to some companies has been canceled due to changing regulations, changing laws, changing acts, which pose discouragement to their continued investment plan in renewable energy. So this is one important thing. So another one is in the contracting business. So the prolonged decision-making in award of competitive tender projects. So two international competitive tender titled the construction of 20 megawatts solar power plant and another 50 megawatt solar power plant was being floated tender on 2023 February. So after 18 months, this two project is still in the process and even not only incur the additional financial expenses for the responsive Chinese bidders by extending the bidding security repeatedly, but also discouraging their participation in the upcoming projects. So regarding these matters, the Chinese embassy has recently expressed concerns to the concerned authority about actually not only the problem existing here, most important and a serious problem is that the discouragement transmitted to the new coming investors. So this is a very serious problem. So today, through this platform, I would like to raise these concerns and the questions to the authorities. So suggestion, actually recently we know that the government published a new policy which called the draft, but actually I think it is a direction of policy implementation, that they tries to diversify the off-takers. So used to BPDB is only one off-taker. Like Indonesia, they have a PLN. Like Vietnam, they have what is the name? And in like Thailand, it is EGAT. And in other countries like Malaysia is TNB. So like even in Pakistan, they have a central power purchase agency. So one single off-taker or buyer is not a problem at core. The problem is that what kind of a government support could be provided to the new investors. Because we understand that the government is trying to diversify off-taker by reduce the pressure, especially the financial pressure of BPDB. But the problem is that whether the new off-takers is strong enough, especially financially strong enough to take such big powers in the future. So what is their guarantee capabilities that make sure the investment, especially the IPPs, to take such risk to selling power with 20, 30 years tenure to them? And this is the questions. And even the policy mentioned that the IPPs could use the utility transmission line, or even they can build their own transmission line. So suppose if the new investor use the PGCB or other distribution utilities transmission line or distribution line, what is the wheeling charge? So how to calculate the wheeling charge? So that is a question mark. So most importantly is how long we can achieve or attain such services. So make sure that investment could land it in a short term. So this is a concern and a question mark. Actually, yes, we know that recently they floated 55 tenders. There are around 20 plus responsive bidders, mostly coming from Bangladesh conglomerate companies. That is a good sign. Local participation is quite important, but the problem is that if we're losing the international participant, I don't think that is a wise idea. So sometimes we feel that the reform and the policy was drafted in a very subtle way that even the most advanced investors in the global, that means suppose Chinese investor cannot catch up with the speed of policy drafting, policy making. So that means the policy is so advanced, so sophisticated that the investor cannot even catch up with the policy. So how can they come finally to invest here? So recently in the energy and the power market, the Middle Asia country is a very eye-catching market. So we personally think that global there are a lot of market to be invested. There are a lot of destination to be invested. But what is the reason they choose one country or one market as an investment destination? I think everyone should have good and profound thinking about that. Thank you so much for giving me such opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Hankun. I think you have very elaborately mentioned about the concerns about the Chinese companies, not only in the renewable energy sector, but also in the power sector, particularly on the payment that are dues to different companies, to the government, as well as the various kinds of abrupt decisions that have been taken. So that you have also taken into account. I think those are very, very important. And also you indicated that the policies should not be abrupt and it should have a continuity and should equally consider the interest of not only of the domestic investors but also of the foreign investors. Thank you for your very precise elaboration about various kinds of issues and concerns regarding Chinese investment in Bangladesh. Those will be very helpful. Let me at this stage invite Engineer Mr. Muhammad Mujibur Rahman, Director, Deputy Secretary, Renewable Energy Development, STRADA. We'd like to hear from you about STRADA's recent engagements and the future plan of activities with regard to promoting renewable energy in the country.
Thank you and assalamu alaikum. Sorry for being here a bit late because I had a class and I am here. Okay, again thanks for giving me the opportunity to and inviting here. Actually, there is lots of speakers and everything is I think already spoken and we already know this thing. And I want to say something about our recent activities of STRADA and Power Division. And Power Division has approved the Renewable Energy Policy 2025, very recent, and I am just feeling happy to say a few special points of this policy. First of all, we are in scarcity of land in Bangladesh. Everybody knows this thing, and that's why we included agrivoltaic system where agriculture and photovoltaic or solar plant can go together, and we will have food security and as well as energy security. So we will not be in a question of land scarcity anymore, or especially in serious condition. And also, there is a big problem of this tendering procedure, and we are in a meeting that nobody is interested to or is capable to submit the documents, tender documents, while it was in process, because in the policy it was written non-agricultural land will be used for energy parks. But in a meeting, we have taken decision that one crop land can be used for this solar plants. So now I think lots of tender is on process and already dropped successfully. There will be no problem regarding the land. I also mentioned that the incentive, financial incentive or incentives regarding these solar plants, they will enjoy the same facility as what the company are getting, especially for BESA and Special Economic Zone or EPZ. So they will get the same benefit like the solar plants will get the same benefits. We have also included RPO and REC, so that the different organization must have renewable energy purchase, especially the RMG sector and other organizations are also going through this process. And we are also introducing REC so that we can get the benefit from carbon trading also. In this policy, we also insert the clause for energy storage system, especially for peak shaving and evening peak also, so that investor can invest in the energy saving projects, and our peak shaving can be possible very easily, and I think it will be also included in the tendering process also, or next coming tendering process. And at the same time, we also reduce the tax for battery equipment. Now it is from 88% to 1% only for the battery equipments, importing battery equipments from the to the Bangladesh. We also included the facilities for the offshore, onshore, nearshore wind turbines also. And we are in a process of achieving our targets 2030 and 2040. And we also in the very final stage of net energy metering system. It is now it is from it was only to 220 voltage to 33 voltage. Now it is from single phase to three phase, and from 220 voltage to 230 kV voltage line. So that from very small user to highest user or highest consumer can be added in the net energy metering process. And we are making one project, we are making one guideline so that school, college, madrasa, and every institution, even government office will be in net energy metering system, or no roof will be free, and every roof will be producing energy from sun or solar system. We also trying to convert our electric pump to solar pump, and we also trying to use the irrigation pump while in idle situation, idle time, that will be connected to the grid, and so that in idle time they can produce power and send to the national to the grid or utility grids. And we already put take it out of 70% of allocated load to now it is 100% allocation load. So anybody in net energy metering, anybody or any user can produce electricity up to his higher limit. These are the process, and you already know that net energy metering metering process or guideline is going to be approved very soon. And if it both it go with renewable energy policy, the net energy metering will be inactive. Then I think we will be very easily achieve the target of 2030 and 2040, and our producer or the market will be very hungry for achieving this target. And I think the businessman can do business, and our energy, our government will reduce the subsidy, and we will be, I think, will be in comfortable situation with our energy system, our power system. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Mujibur Rahman. We have heard a number of recent initiatives that have been taken by SREDA, which are very positive. At the same time, I think though the duty and tariffs have been reduced, but still the tariffs for the inverter and the tariffs of the other equipments are still quite high. And also for the rooftop and others, for commercial use, the tariffs are low, but for those who individually like to install the rooftop solar, they won't be able to get the benefit for as those of the commercial in a commercial setup or commercial operator like that. So I think they need to have a further broadening of the fiscal policy support for promoting the rooftop solar in the country. So at this stage, our final discussion today is Mr. Gobindra Chandra Laha, Chief Engineer, Planning and Design, BPDB. I think BPDB is in the forefront for advancing the power sector and energy sector, but we like to hear how the BPDB is now thinking about promoting renewable energy. We have heard some very encouraging recent stories, but at the same time, there are some other issues that have been raised from the flow, from the discussion, that how those financial issues and LOI issues are being considered through the ministry as well as from the BPDB. We also like to hear from you. Over to you, Mr. Gobindra Chandra Laha.
Thank you, sir. I sincerely express my gratitude to the Center for Policy Dialogue for organizing this remarkable program, which serves as an invaluable platform to address the pressing challenges faced by foreign investors, especially our esteemed Chinese partners, in advancing investment in Bangladesh's renewable energy sector. Today's session has provided an exceptional opportunity to exchange insights to address the challenges faced by Chinese investors in the renewable energy sector and outline a way forward by identifying solutions that enhance regulatory transparency, improve infrastructure readiness, and streamline approval process. We can create an conducive environment for investment. Together, through innovation and collaboration, we can progress collectively towards achieving Bangladesh's desired energy transition goals, ensuring a future that is sustainable and inclusive. To achieve the targets of 2030, new renewable energy projects are being planned and implemented in phases, and approximately 8,400 megawatt of capacity will be added to the grid by 2030. As the leading power utility of Bangladesh, BPDB yearns of installing about 1,000 megawatt of solar power plants in different areas of country by 2030. BPDB has initiated the construction of approximately 550 megawatt of solar power plants using its own land and own funds. Among these, 4 solar power plants with a combined capacity of 520 megawatt are currently in the DPP approval process. While the remaining projects are in feasibility study stage, BPDB has also undertaken the development of 30 rooftop solar projects with a combined capacity of around 25 megawatts within the last 2 weeks, and it will continue. And we have another 33 small land-based solar projects around capacity 100 megawatt. And already 12 projects feasibility study completed, and these projects already approved by our boards. And these are, and for this we are calling tender one by one. Technological advancement and cost reductions in renewable energy equipment have significantly decreased BPDB's installing cost less than 6 crore per megawatt peak for large-scale land-based solar power plants, and under 3 crore per megawatt peak for rooftop solar projects. Consequently, levelized tariffs have dropped to around 5.4 cents per kilowatt hour for large-scale solar and 4 cents per kilowatt hour for rooftop solar installations. Besides, to promote renewable energy-based power plants in the private sector, tenders have been invited for 55 projects with a combined capacity of 5,238 megawatt across 4 packages. Tenders for 3 packages were received on June 2, June 18, and June 23, 2025. Those are under evaluation process. I agree with CPD's recommendation about open tender for land issue, various stages of approval, tender approval process for OPEX model, government guarantee, and for licensing and other regulatory permission. I hope concerned authority will check their recommendations and will take necessary action for accept that will be acceptable. Bangladesh renewable energy sector offers significant opportunities for Chinese investors, supported by the country's growing energy demand and emphasis on sustainable development. However, the sector presents challenges such as limited land availability for large-scale projects and grid integration issues arising from the intermittent nature of renewable energy sources. Regulatory hurdles and financial constraints such as high initial investment costs and dependence on imported components add to the complexities. Furthermore, the lack of skilled professionals and limited public awareness about renewable energy technologies pose additional obstacles. I am happy to say that Government of Bangladesh published Renewable Energy Policy 2025 on 6th June 2025, which will provide a strategic framework to overcome those challenges, offering investors attractive incentives, including tax exemptions, duty waivers, and such as agrivoltaic and access to government allocation land opens for collaborative investment. The policy also emphasizes local manufacturing, presenting Chinese companies with opportunities to establish production units for renewable energy equipment, partnerships in research and development, grid modernization, and battery energy storage system, alongside initiatives to enhance technological capacity, create a favorable environment for Chinese investors to contribute to and benefit from Bangladesh's transition to sustainable energy future. The government may consider acquiring of allocation of land, such as low-lying areas, karstland, shore regions, and sites along railways, highways, rivers, and water bodies for private investors, enabling them to develop renewable power plants at reduced cost. Additionally, the government has taken initiatives to promote private sector participations by offering competitive tariffs and creating opportunities for establishing merchant renewable energy plant. And about merchant power plant, merchant power plant policy is in drafting stage. We hope the committee will see all sides that there will be no conflict of interest in developing merchant power plants in Bangladesh. And for LOI issue, I hope the competent authority will take consideration of CPD's recommendation. Thanks to all.
Thanks, Mr. Gobindo Chandrulaha. In your very brief intervention, you have very specifically pointed out what are the recent developments happened in the BPDB, and from the Power Development Board side, it itself has going for large scale investments for renewable energy. So that's a positive sign. But at the same time, we also like to see that they also facilitate the private investments in the renewable energy sector, not by the public sector, but also by the private sector, including the foreign investors that also need to be promoted. And happy to hear that that a number of other initiatives you also mentioned regarding the merchant power agreement. You mentioned that that BPDB will consider avoiding any kinds of conflict of interest issue there. And also, as it is suggested that foreign investors participants should be ensured in the merchant power plant agreement process. So with this long designated discussion session, we will now go for open discussion. Though we have already 5 minutes past 1, but still lots of lots of competent participants are there whom we like to hear their views regarding investments in the renewable energy sector. But before opening to the open discussion, we will take a group photo. Khalid, who will take the photo now? Anyone? Someone is there, is absent? Okay, let's start the open discussion first. So those who want to talk to the open discussion, please raise your hand and introduce yourself and then intervene. Yes. We can start from you.
It is a very nice day today. We have been hearing about our problems and this prospect and future of our solar energy, especially the renewable energy. So I have a small writings, if you allow me to read it out.
If it is in 1-2 minutes, then
yeah,
it's fine.
it not more than 2 minutes.
Okay, please.
Okay. We often say solar is free because the sun does not send a bill. But in Bangladesh, we are taxing the sun through high import duties and policy delays that makes clean energy costlier than it should be. If we want serious Chinese investment, we need to stop discouraging the very infrastructures that brings it in. Major challenges faced by the Chinese investor in renewable energy for IPPs, policy and regulatory delays, unpredictable timelines for PPA approvals, land access, and grid connectivity. No structured annual RE tender pipelines to build confidence. This is what we are speaking about, experience we have seen. Heavy tax and duties burden. Over 85% of the solar IPP costs are upfront. Taxes and VATs on essential component size raise total project cost by up to 20%, significantly reducing project viability. 5 to 25% import duties plus 15% VAT on inverters. Nowadays, inverters they've reduced, transformers, batteries, SCADA, etc. No automatic or fast track exemption regime. Financial risk factors, delays payment from BPDP, lack of payment security frameworks, Taka depreciation and limited hedging options for USD denominated loans. Execution barriers, grid infrastructure not ready to solar rich areas. Local JB or EPC partners often lack technical depth or financial muscles. Regional benchmark where we stand. Vietnam pays import duty 0%, VAT 0%, tax holiday 4 years. Thailand also pays 0%, Pakistan also pays 0%, same VAT and tax holidays. But Pakistan have a tax holiday for 5 to 10 years. Nepal has 0 to 5% import duty, 0% VAT. Sri Lanka 0% import duty, 0% VAT, 7 years tax holiday. And unfortunately, Bangladesh, we have got 5 to 25% duties, 15% VAT, and limited tax holidays. We are asking foreign investors to pay more for the same megawatt. That's not sustainable in a competitive region. Strategic recommendation, tax and duty reforms, go zero, go fast. We propose a time-bound, zero tax, zero duty regime for complete solar IPP infrastructure, include but not limited to PV modules, mounting, structures, inverters, BSS, transformer, DC-AC cables, SCADA, EMS, pyranometers, CTPT, circuit breakers, GIS and AS meter, CCTV, optical cables, and also DC-DC converters. Because if we want to use a battery today, we need a DC-DC converter as well. A jointly issued master exemption list, I repeat, a jointly issued master exemption list by NVR, SHEDA, and Power Division can eliminate delays and ambiguity. It is a must. And another, just 1 minute, de-risk financing, introduce escrow-backed payment guarantee. Then delays of payment will not rise. Then enable currency hedging or Taka swap facilities for large IPPs. Infrastructure alignments, prioritize grid upgrades in designated solar zones. Co-invest in substations and evacuation capacity along with the approved IPPs. Create a Bangladesh-China RE task force, as we are talking about the one singular authority. So I recommend create a Bangladesh-China RE task force, a high-level working group to monitor pipeline, reserve investors' bottlenecks, align incentives and timelines. At the end, not the last, I just like to say, Bangladesh has the sunlight, the demand, and the developers. If we add smart policy and fiscal clarity, we can become South Asia's most attractive solar investment hub by 2030. The question is, are we ready to compete, or will we keep taxing our future? Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, I think you have very thoughtfully raised all major issues and very pragmatically provided some very important suggestions.
Thank you, sir.
We'd like to take your copy if you allow us.
Sure.
Thank you. So now we will like to take a group photo. I'm coming. We'll take a group photo. All the head table guests are, so they will take a photo for the website. Okay, thank you. We are again proceed with the open discussion. Please go ahead.
Thank you.
Could you please introduce yourself?
I'm Dr. S.M. Nasif Shams, Director, Institute of Energy, Dhaka University. Thank you, Mojam bhai, and thank you, CPD, for inviting us and creating this environment for free discussion of this very important matter, because already so many companies invested in Bangladesh, near about 6 billion. I think this is very timely event CPD organized. So because time is very short, I'll directly go to my suggestions. Thanks for nice presentation also. So I think for foreign investors, like they, for long-term investment, foreign investment, I think we should be more friendly. They should get more friendly environment, and they should get protection from like policy change effect protection. Like there should be a terminology like political change effect protection system. So any government coming, going, but foreign investors should be protected, because they have their own timelines, own policies. So otherwise no foreign investment will be coming in Bangladesh. And then number two is import friendly policy, and for installation time, there are some issues of the installation equipments and raw materials. So these equipments and raw materials, we should make easier way, because if it is coming from this particular project, so they should be allowed to bring them easily without any extra hassle. Then number three is for local investors should be attached with these foreign investors, and they should get like interest-free loan for at least for 5 years, and then they also should get tax-free facility for importing raw materials for these particular projects which are renewable energy based. But however, so local investors should have some commitment to create new jobs for university students and fresh graduates. Not like you put so many barriers, like you need 5 years experience or something. So they should get facility of no tax long-term loan, but they also should create new jobs. So we have 150 universities now. So where these students will go? And then number four is land purchase policy. So I think foreign investors, particularly Chinese investors, they want land for 25 years. I may make a mistake, but it's probably their target is to get the land easily for this 20 years lease. If it is for 25 years, it's fine, then they want to go. But we are putting them in difficulty. They have to buy this land, but we have separate land policies. So foreign citizens cannot buy land. So I think in future, this can make very difficult situations. Just one more. And if I want to summarize my whole thing, government should provide land evacuation. Evacuation is another very difficult thing to do in this kind of project, and stable payment for electricity sale, because including documentation for environmental clearance, fire clearance, local government and land clearance. These are very difficult thing. Even the companies get permission from government, they have to go again for the environment clearance, and it's very difficult. So government should put everything together. Probably SHEDA can play a very
thank you. I think
role. Thank you very much.
I think land-related suggestions are quite pertinent. Anyone from this side? I think I see lots of friends from the Chinese friends are here. I will also encourage you to take part. And also I like to mention that there are some over 20 participants who join online. I request my colleagues to check whether the online participants would like to share their views. Can you just check? Sarwar and others? Yes, just I'm coming. Can you check whether online participants want to intervene? Please let me know. So first, please go ahead. I will come to you again. Then I will come. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much to hold this meeting. Actually, this is a very good platform for the communication between Bangladesh government or even Bangladesh local investors and Chinese investors. So I'm from SPSC. My name is Jing, and we already invested the first wind power project in this country, Coxbada 60 megawatt. So I know the presentation is mainly focused on the business established statement and project implementation stage. But actually, as an investor, the post establishment operation stage is also very critical because our investment, the power plant will last for 20 or 25 years. So that is a long-term investment for the foreigners. And as the foreign investors, actually, now the most concerning point is that if we can get our monthly revenue on time. But I know BBDB and we and other department from the government side already does a lot of effort and help us a lot. But actually, we got monthly loan to pay back. Most of the loan is from China or from other international financial institutions. So if 1 month or 2 months delay may not cause any big problem, but 4 or even half year, that's gonna make our investors face a lot of challenges like the credit crisis. Because except for the Bangladesh market, actually we are doing a lot of investment all around the world. So but the credit crisis is not only for this market, right? So my suggestion is that maybe the government can come up with any kind of measurements or suggestions that to shorten the payment process. So that is one suggestion from my side. And the second one is that in the Coxbada area, actually we are planning to build more wind projects in that area, and we want to build that area as a demonstration clusters because from the cancellation LOS, we also got one very big wind power project that is around 300 megawatt. So from my perspective, I suggest the government would, not agree that project, but at least we can bring it back to the table and renegotiate to make this project survive so that we can make more contribution to this country, to the master plan, towards the ambitious goal of renewable energy, maybe by 2030 or even by 2040. So that's my suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you are very specifically highlighted two issues. I think payment dues is a really recent concerns, and for making payments to take credit, borrowing is also another concerning issue. So that also increase the cost of operation, overall operation. And we are looking forward to that the government will come with more positive steps to make clear all the due payments. Here, I'm coming to you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so okay. My question is quite similar with that, sir, because I'll make a brief introduction first. My name is Jack, and I'm from the Invention Group. And I think today we have talked too much on solar energy, and I would like to mention 2 points on wind energy. First of all, is there guidelines from government or relative authorities on the wind energy, wind power land use regulation? And thirdly, is there any guidance price on the future wind power price? So I hope I'm not sure if anyone from here can give me some guess on those 2 points. Thank you.
Thank you. We like to hear from Sreda, colleague. Do you have any wind power related land purchase agreement clause or the wind power price related any understanding?
Actually, at this moment, we don't have the wind guideline, especially we are on process of offshore and onshore wind guideline. So when the guideline is approved, then it will be included here, and we are working on it. But in individual cases, we are giving permission for wind assessment or similar works. So I think we have given one permission to one Chinese company. They may be here, maybe this person, they are getting permission to do the wind assessment activities. And we are very wide and open for such activities. So if some company can, more other company can come, we will give permission, and we will not take any delay, or delaying is not the job for SREDA. We want to do as quick as possible. Wind guideline, actually the wind guideline, one wind guideline was onshore wind guideline. It was under the special act. That's why, or you can say this is special act, and you can say something. You can just propose, and you can convince the authority, and then you can do it. That's why this present government is not doing this. This present government is only for competitive tendering process. That's why we can say this existing wind guideline is not working at this moment. But new one will come very soon.
So they are working on a new guideline regarding the wind power. So please go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. So I would like to really appreciate CPD. I found Dr. Ghulam Mojam Bhai very vocal this time. But I didn't find last November this way. But if the CPD could talk this way, maybe things could be changed by 24. That didn't happen. So regarding the scrapping of 34 or 31 LOIs, till now, government didn't sit with us, even today. They simply issued a letter with all of us. It's postponed, suspended, not cancelled yet. The litigation is still ongoing, but we don't know when we'll get the result. So after scrapping the LOIs, many companies left out of the country. For instance, Hero Future Energies, Singaporean registered company, Total Eren, Marubeni left the project. But till date, government didn't take not a single steps. Even BIDA, SREDA, Energy Regulatory Commissions, no one has taken any single steps. And I found BIDA is very less control to attract the investors. Last time, I also raised the point, BIDA, that BIDA is our kind of guardian, mainly who will attract the investors. But we would like to see such initiative steps from the government sides, why the good and foreign developers are leaving the country. We should attract them, not only for the Chinese investors. Altogether, they could build a new Bangladesh here, definitely. And renewable energy market, Bangladesh has a huge potentiality. So I'm talking another point. This time, even the competitive bidder process, we have seen that 3 or 4 companies participating in everywhere, every places. So it's alarming. Again, if you don't control, if you cannot make the policy changes in proper way, again, this market will be controlled 4 or 5 companies. So ultimately, the objective will not be success. Another issue was the tariff rate issue, the 70-30. We have raised our vocal many times, but government never listened our words. And from this session, actually, we would like to see more engagement from the government bodies so that we can get real-time answer from them. Because otherwise, we have done a lot of seminars, lot of sessions, lot of press briefing, but the result is ultimately zero. But again, appreciated CPD, the recommendations that Mojam Bhai have been raised here is really very much important. And still we expect that somebody will listen these recommendations and they will look forward again and they will review it again. Thank you.
Thank you. As you see that senior officials from different government bodies are here, we are waiting to hear from them as well. Anyone from yes? Yes. Please go ahead. Please introduce yourself first.
Thank you. I am Engineer Mukit Alam Khan from SPIC, that wind power plant. I am the project director over there. Thank you for giving the floor to give me some time to have. I want to actually, in this tender, I want to point out one thing, that there is no guarantee with ministry. Actually, I'm not saying about the guarantee. We have talked about a lot, but for the tender, all responsibility lies to BPDB. When I went to ministry, and ministry told me that actually everything will be done by BPDB, ministry will not have any participation on this matter. So when we done this, our Cox's Bazar project, we had to go at least 7 or 8 ministries or 15 or 16 government agencies for different certificates and many things. So what we found, that there is a very lack of interministerial or interdepartmental communication gap, which we had overcome with help of ministry. That when we start somewhere, ministry intervene and ministry tries to make them understand on behalf of us. But I doubt that BPDB can do it, but because BPDB is also an government agency, and another government agency will listen to BPDB, it is like, it never happened to us, like we have seen past 7 years. So this interdepartmental communication gap should be addressed very specifically. And in the Public Procurement Act, the tender, under the Public Procurement Act, the tender has been floated. But unfortunately, this Public Procurement Act is not aligned with any kind of power project, though we have done like almost 5 gigawatt plus wind solar projects under this act, which is which feels little confusing for the our foreign investors, not only Chinese but also other foreign investors.
I cannot get your point.
I'm saying that the Public Procurement Act, the tender has been floated under this act. So this Public Procurement Act is not aligned with any kind of power project to float any tender for power projects. Specifically, it is okay for roads, bridges, and other things, but for the power plants, for a tender, it is not fully aligned, maybe 50% aligned or 60% aligned, but not fully aligned. When there is not fully aligned, at least 90 or 95% aligned, it is hard for foreign investors to act with this law. So it is also a little concerning for us as a foreign investor. Another thing we need to address, that our customs, VAT and tax. We have a specific SRO from past 15 or 20 years that renewable energy projects or any kind of power plant projects should be VAT and tax exempted. But the problem is, SRO has been given by NBR, but customs officers are independent. They often don't want to listen or don't want to abide by the rules. They thought that, okay, this item is not aligned with this power plant, so it cannot be VAT tax exempted. So we had to pay sometimes 200%, 300% tax to customs, though we have tax exemption certificate from NBR. This is also alarming, that because when we calculate our tariff, we calculate with 100% tax benefited method. But when we bring the goods, actually, NBR asks for this 100%, 200% tax, which is also increase our project cost, but we have already got our tariff. We cannot got our increased tariff. This is also very alarming, you need to address. And another thing is, I want to add with Abu Hana Bhai, that BIDA matter. BIDA, for us, we have 14 personnel, like Mr. Jin, and we have another 13 personnel. we have get work permit for every one of them. What happens, BIDA takes a lot of time to give the work permit for foreign people, and after that, so we have to work. Like BIDA takes 3 months, 4 months, 5 months time to give the work permit. But as we have to work, BIDA, when we want to get for the final approval, BIDA actually calculates the time, these 5 months of his staying, and BIDA asks for charge that why this person stay in Bangladesh without work permit, and we had to give a lot of VAT for them also. But when we tell BIDA that yes, we have submitted work permit application 5 months ago, they said that yes, we have submitted. What we can do? We have processed our file, and during the process it takes 3 months, 4 months. It is a schedule, so he should come 5 months later. But we cannot stop our project for 5 months. They are the specialized personnel from China. So these kind of things are very problematic for any kind of project, not only in power project, any kind of projects. It is very alarming. We have paid a lot of VAT and tax except from our actual project cost, just for project sake, just for project development, just not to stop the project, and we have spent like millions over the project cost. So this, if I will request CPD to address these specific points in your study to facilitate all these things.
Thank you. I think very specific points, 4 points that you have mentioned, very specific. I appreciate if you share a written write-up regarding these 4 points. That will be helpful for us. Okay. The last point in the field, another 1 or 2. Yes. Can you just go 1 minute, please?
Sir, can you give us a little more time? Okay. So, my name is Shakir Ahmed. Actually, I'm the CEO of the Anchorex Corporation. Previously, I worked for the many companies as a different positions. I've been served myself 25 years in power sector. Right at the moment, I'm really frustrated, worried, and concerned. Due to so many things happen. First of all, the LOI cancelled whimsically and unilaterally taking.
I think LOI issue has already been brought up. Just any new issue, please.
New issues. The thing is, as you mentioned, the Quick Enhancement Act already cancelled. We appreciated it, but there is also another act, 1980 Foreign Private Protection Act, which is the BIDA Private Protection Act. So many foreign investors already invested. Where is the remedy? There is no remedy. There is an act, but there's no remedy. We are not protecting any foreign investor. The act cancelled. They already invested, but government not taking the consider of 1980 Act, the Foreign Investment Act. That is the one of the raising concern from myself. We already asked so many times. There is an act. You have to go to the scrutiny and taking the decision. The perception created everybody corrupted. I'm as a professional, my perception, I'm a corrupted person. So why don't government taking a decision against me? I raise my voice. Second thing, I was worried about the taking some policies. The policies already has been taken, but there is no implementation of the right pathway. And everybody appreciated about the merchant power. I'm really concerned about it. Because of the Bangladesh consumes 750 kilowatt hour per capita energy. The smallest merchant capital market is Singapore. Consumption per person, 8,500 kilowatt per hour. What is the market in Bangladesh? The biggest consumer is REV, 10,000 megawatt. 80 Shomiti, they called it Shomiti. Only 13 Shomiti is profitable. Only 13. 67 or something like that, they are non-profitable, they are in the loss, they have so many issues. I found only few of areas only, which is merchant power is really workable, that is EPZ, which is under the BIDA or BEPSA. Only the few of, they are the capable because the merchant power plant tariff or something like that is very high. You need someone who can buy it. The concerned thing is, are we really taking this merchant public policy for existing very powerful groups? Because they already exist in the EPZ. This is merchant power price is not considerable for the renewable energy. Renewables is concerned priority should be the reducing the cost or something like that. But the investment is very high. Local bank and no one can invest for the utility scale up. Last point, the open tender already submitted, 41 on tender already submitted. 20 locations, single bidder or no bidder. One group already grabbed 10 projects. And that 21, another location, local peoples, they already submitted, and also worried about what we will be fine because of so many people mentioned some of local companies provoking them to giving the EPC price like whimsical price. They don't know what actually the price would be for the investment will become for the conventional utility scale for the person. This is the way everything is going on. So I'm really worried, frustrated, and concerned.
Thank you. I think you have raised very thought-provoking issues regarding the merchant power plant issue, FDI Act issue, as well as the open tender issue. Thank you for your intervention. Last intervention. Yes. Can you just briefly mention 1 minute, please?
Yes, it's Tariq. I'm just working for Fujian Yangfu Power Engine Company Limited. So one thing I just want to highlight, and I have put recommendation to CPD, through CPD to the government. We had a tender, open tender already, like 3 lot already was submitted. But we found that some of the condition is very challenging for the foreign investor.
Can you just specify?
Like the financing issues, number 1. Some of the clauses, which is very difficult, what already you had discussed in your presentation also you mentioned, like without local representation, it's very challenging to meet those conditions within short period of time. So if the small project is fine, but it's a big project, it's quite impossible to meet those deadlines and submit the documents on time. So what I'm just suggesting, so we put all these terms and conditions, we just had a several discussion in the pre-briefing meeting, but it's very unfortunate, like we found they are not ready to listen from the real investor who wants to really do the real projects. That's very unfortunate from the investor point of view. So whatever, we proceed on it, but what the recommendation I put it, what today's forum we are hearing there will some of the new opportunities coming up, like rooftop, merchant power plant, those things coming up. So I will request through you, put the terms and condition, and this is investor friendly. So that's my recommendation.
Thank you. I think that we understood it. Just to you last, will be the last one, but Mr. Han will say something.
So thank you so much to hand over the stage to me. I will try to make it as short as possible. So for a foreign investor, we ourselves invested 2 power plants in Bangladesh. So one of them, they have not so big piece of land, but they have to dealing with more than 200 landowners. So due to these land problems, so financing comes, the first drawdown comes after completion of the construction time. So that means we could either call that refinance or we call that delayed disbursement of loans. So I want to try to say that as a foreign investor come to Bangladesh in the power sector, once we want to do something, we have to bear some risk. But some risk is kind of beyond our control. So in the power sector, land is a critical matter, so the investor have to bear such risk. Then the transmission line, the IPPs have to dealing independently, for sure, with some support of BPDB, dealing with PGCB for the transmission matters. So for the permission and other permitting license, we need to dealing with NBR. We need to, for sure, dealing with BIDA, for sure. and other agencies. So as a foreign investor, what they have to do is so much that they factor such risk, such overwork into their tariff. Finally, the purpose is to get the project financeable or bankable. If the project is not financeable or bankable, the project cannot be finally come to the stage. So what I want to try to see that for most of the economy, emerging economy or developing countries, due to we do not have so advanced, so sophisticated financial market, so we do not have so much financial instruments to mitigate our own risk. So that's why we either factor the risk into the tariff, or we need some commercial or concessional insurance entity to cover our risk. One of them is government support. So that's why in most of the emerging economy, government usually offer sovereign guarantee to the investor to make the project bankable. Otherwise, no one will easily come to take risk and make investment. So regarding the sovereign guarantee, a lot of people have misinterpretations. In Bangladesh, it is the so-called sovereign guarantee is not actually the credit guarantee. It is a performance guarantee because BPDB is a counterpart of PPA. So once BPDB is default in payment of the tariffs, Ministry of Power on behalf of Bangladesh government will regulate, will ask, will even enforce BPDB to fulfill their repayment obligations. But government will not so easily take responsibility of BPDB's borrowing or repayment obligation. That means mostly government leverage the investor come to BPDB with just a performance sovereign guarantee, rather than they will actually take money from their own pocket and pay the investor. No, never happened so far. But this is also already very important. So in terms of BPDB alone, the credibility of financial statements, financial credibility is not so strong. But most of the financial institutions accept because BPDB was being guaranteed in performance by Ministry of Power. For sure, it is the government of Bangladesh. So that's why guarantee is a very important factor to get the renewable project finally landed in Bangladesh. Now the new policy, though it is drafted, so the guarantee is nowhere because they tries to diversify the off-takers. They would like to they encourage the power or electricity selling to the big consumers, large consumers. So the large consumers, so far in Bangladesh, there are some conglomerates, but actually not so many, to be very frankly. Still, government, especially BPDB, is the largest off-taker. We personally think that, yes, we encourage diversified off-taker is a trend in the future, but we may not be so radically go so fast that overnight BPDB comes into as a supporting facility, supporting entity. Rather, they encourage so many companies, so many big companies. You should be the big purchaser rather than always increase burden to government. But that will not easily happen. That will take a long time. So I think that reform policy making should come in an incremental way rather than so quick that no one can catch up with your space. So this is one matter, guarantee matter. So again, I propose that guarantee, especially sovereign guarantee, is very important for renewable project, continue to be the biggest FDI attraction factor. So for the cooperation among ministries. Actually, so far, me as a foreign investor, my feeling is that BIDA has already making their utmost efforts to attract investors. So far, especially in the recent months, recent years, BIDA so far has done a lot of efforts to make the environment as friendly as possible. CEAB have a monthly breakfast meeting with BIDA to discuss how to facilitate Chinese investors' easiness coming to Bangladesh. But still, it takes a long time. Why it takes some time? Because cooperation among ministries is a headache. No one is so strong enough to control so many auxiliary or so many competent authorities that give full support to the foreign investors. I think in this regard, I think government of top levels are supposed to have some thinking about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Han. Just 1 minute, I think we like to close. Yeah, Mr. Yamin, just half minute.
Thank you so much. This is Yamin. I work for Agence France Presse, international news agency. So my question is to Dr. Moazzam, as you have recommended to think the government, to review the cancelled project again. So as you know, all these projects were awarded under unsolicited process. And you know, the unsolicited process where there was no accountability, transparency, and competitiveness. So that actually impacted the tariff of the solar power that already made the solar power, renewable power expensive, and it is expensive than furnace oil-based electricity. So, and CPD has been advocating on behalf of transparency, accountability for long time and many years. Even you have been recommending to stop unsolicited project awarding under unsolicited process. So once you disagreed or once you demanded to cancel project that have been taken through unsolicited process, now you are recommending to review the project that has been cancelled. So isn't it contradict to your ethical ground on accountability and transparency and competitiveness?
Thank you. Yeah, I think you have raised a very pertinent questions. The question here is that we also talked about it in detail. Since a number of investments are in a transition, were in transition. So, and they have government already provided LOI, means that almost government agreed to purchase power from some of the companies, and those companies have already made investments towards that direction. So in that consideration, we think that those projects can get the opportunity to review. Of course, it will not review in the sense that it will just revive and accept, not like that. Again, the review may consider to the current context, because some of those projects were granted in 2017, some of those granted in 2019 when the price was quite high. So reviewing means not like accepting with the previous terms. Reviewing means that accepting with the current reality, current purchase price and other costs, and that process need to be revived. That's CPD is actually mentioning. Just one point, please, last point.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your explanation to the last issues raised by Mr. Amin. I have seen that this is a study paper, a study team, Dr.
Can you just mention directly your point, please?
Yes. My point is that in this study process, I think one issue's been not considered, that is the political issues. Political attachment or collaboration or engagement with the projects was not being considered in this study, I think.
Didn't get your point. What's your message here?
Message is that the project which had been awarded before, you did not study that how it had been awarded. whether there had been any political engagement with the projects or associations, that has not been discussed or pointed out in your studies. So that is one issues I like to raise.
Thank you, brother. Let me close the open discussion. Thank you for your thought-provoking suggestions, comments, and feedback. And we appreciate your interventions during the open discussion session. Let me actually end this long discussion. Just before coming to the head table guests, we received some comments from our online participants. One mentioned who participated in the Zoom mentioned that are there any policies in place regarding with waste to energy, that is landfill gas to energy, whether government has any policy or not, that one participant from online like to hear. Another mentioned how maintenance of existing solar panels can be improved so that it provides sufficient light up to 20 years. So that's a technological issue that has been mentioned there. Another person mentioned that, dear directors, we are a state-owned Chinese EPC contractor. As per tariff regulations, the tariff rate for panel is 26.2%, and the inverter is 37%. Energy storage battery is 89.3%, which is still high. We also saw Renewable Energy Policy 2025, which mentioned some incentive policy. We want to consult that when will the tariff reduction policy or some new SRO be implemented. So he expects some further reduction of tariff to make the renewable energy-based projects competitive. Thank you for all your the online interventions. Let me invite my last three guests. First, I would like to invite Mr. Mohammad Alauddin, Rector, Bangladesh Power Management Institute, to say a few words.
So, thank you, Mojam Bhai, for extending an invitation to attend this event. And also it is an honor for me to sit beside the Honorable Chairman Bark, who is our senior colleague and a scholar bureaucrat. And I must first thank the keynote presenter, Dr. Moazem, and Abrar Ahmed Bhuiya for their well-articulated presentation. I believe I will get 4 minutes, not 5. Yes. So straight I will go to my comment on one point that is challenging in developing rooftop solar project. So one of the point is capacity limitation for establishments. If an establishment has a demand of 2 megawatt, it is not allowed to install more than 2 megawatt of solar capacity. So apparently it sounds good, but since we have two professors, one from Farsi Mahmood from Buet, another from Dhaka University, Nasif Shams, here is another issue of grid stability. Once you export all the power to the grid, so before making such recommendation, we need to go for a grid impact study for that. Otherwise, it will be difficult to make such comment. This is my one point. And also, the ultimate objective of the rooftop policy is to lessen your electricity bill and supply surplus electricity to the grid. But in disguise, you can't make it make an inroad for another that power plant. You get my point? So this is the ultimate objective. So otherwise, I am okay with this. And another risk associated with project OPEX model. Yes, here is a risk. The recommendation put forward by President BSREA, this is really a matter of concern for the third party who is going to invest about his investment security on it. So these are my short recommendation. And also I take this privilege, lot many issues have been discussed that are quite valid. So I had the opportunity to study at some length about the investment risks for renewable electricity in Bangladesh. So also we have found in our study that we have surveyed 46 key stakeholders So our finding is power market risks and also permit risks, they are the most important, pose important challenges in renewable energy investment. So somehow or other, we have to de-risk this investment to attract the investment. Oftentimes we talk about foreign investment. In fact, it is fair to say the investment. If it is comfortable for local investment, equally it will be comfortable for the foreign investment. So there is a tendency to highlight, focus on the foreign investors, not necessarily. If we have a level playing field, if local investors are comfortable, foreign investors will be automatically comfortable. This is my point. And so, for example, the power market risks, our policy instrument will be PPA to address that one, and also fossil fuel subsidy reform, and also long-term RE targets that can address the risk. And also permit risks, that is although you have nicely articulated in your presentation, one-stop licensing. Another point raised in the discussion that the help desk sort of thing, because you have nicely articulated that instead of promoting, we now eye on facilitation. That is quite important. In SEDA, while I was chairman SEDA, we did develop a help desk for renewable energy. It is dedicated for the only renewable energies. So our entrepreneurs or the sponsors can use that help desk for primary information and also their expected energy yield. From that help desk, they can get those services. And also for renewable energy data, the onus is on SEDA to provide data and information necessary for the investors or entrepreneurs. And also they are supposed to, as per the act of SEDA, they are supposed to act as a repository of data and knowledge for renewable energy. So this is from my side, because since our senior colleague is here, I would like to take more time. Thank you so very much again for inviting me. And I am enlightened by your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alauddin Bhai. I think you have rightly mentioned very specific 3-4 points which you need to take into account. Let me actually invite at this stage our another guest of honor, Mr. Nahian Rahman Rochi, Head of Business Development, Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, BIDA. Thank you for coming to CBD program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Didn't want to miss the entire session because clearly this is a sector which is a priority sector for all of us. And I'm very glad that I made time to hear, especially the comments that was brought up, right? So let me start with the comments and feedback that we got from all the speakers. I actually think that was very engaging and very to the point and very relevant, especially the points regarding our task force for renewable energy. There was a point around having a protection period for investors after they make an investment. There was also an action point recommended regarding having a post-implementation support as well, not only the pre-implementation or pre-project ones. I think these are all very good points. One thing I just wanted to offer, because I don't know that we are already running over time and I wouldn't have a long sort of space to talk, but first offer that I want to give to everyone is definitely one of the reasons why I am taking part in this discussion with CPD is I want to leave this communication channel open. All these recommendations that you guys have, if you can probably just consolidate it into a piece of paper, into specific recommendations for us, and I will definitely take that from CPD and from whatever we can do. And we, as many of you said, we are the arm for the investors, right? So whatever policy recommendations that BIDA can give, we will definitely put it forward and make sure that this gets the highest notice and attention from different stakeholders. That's a commitment that I can make. I know that one of the speakers mentioned that we often don't play our role. I also take that feedback, but on this topic, I can clearly confirm and commit to you that once you give us that set of recommendations, we will assess and we will put forward the best ones. Specifically, the feedback that came from the floor, they were, if I try to categorize them in sort of 3 different feedback, right? One was regarding process and policy. So regarding your policies on waste to energy, policies regarding wind energy, policies regarding tender process, it becomes limiting and all of that. So if you can club this under a process recommendation or a policy recommendation, that probably would be my first category. The second one was regarding tariff issues, duties and all of that. Look, I think with that one, we probably will never be able to go to the desired level at one go. It has to be a few rounds, right? So, but once again, if we can have a more medium to long-term recommendation on how we can do a benchmarking with a few other countries to get to a desired level over a 2 to 3 year or a 4-year period, probably that recommendation would be good regarding the tariff piece. The last one, which is execution or facilitation. On this one, I think those should be solved immediately. One of the speakers mentioned here about a few issues regarding NBR policy making versus execution. I think that's a no-no, that's a no-starter, right? So immediately, if there are issues like this, highlight to us, they should be solved immediately. Similarly, the work permit issue. So I'm very sorry to hear that they face issues like that, but once again, these issues should not be prevailing. We do have space to accommodate delays in getting security clearance for work permits and all of that. So if issues like this happen, definitely we can take care of. So this is my first piece of, I hear all the feedback, and please do send it back to us for us to sort of come back to you with specific action points. A few comments from my end to sort of close this section of the discussion. I think clearly the demand-supply equation of renewable energy is there. I think all of us understand that. I think we are one of the most fertile lands in terms of getting solar energy, right? It's one of the highest radiation levels. That's what I hear and that's what I've read. In terms of demand, with the industrialization happening, the demand is also going to be there for sure. So I think the demand-supply equation is given. We require around 1.5 to 2 billion investment annually to cope up with this demand of 2030 and 2041. So I think the investment piece is also very clear. The challenge I think we face mostly is that enabling piece or facilitation piece, right? I think the business case is there, but once people want to invest, for me, investors are both local and foreign. I don't segregate in my mind. So if, as he said, if the local investors are happy, foreign investors definitely will be happy as well, right? I think once you try to land in this country, that's where the challenges start. A few of the things which we are starting immediately or have started. First thing is, if you look at the structure of BIDA typically or historically, there was no sector-based desk or sector-based sort of team. What we are doing is we already have identified the 19 priority sectors, and within them we also have categorization. Renewable energy is one of the top priorities. We will move into a desk-based facilitation center in BIDA. So we will try to initiate a renewable energy-based desk, which will not only do facilitation, but also help with all this policy advocacy, these recommendations that you were sending to us. We can already create a bridge with agencies like CPD to work on them. So this is an action point which we are trying to trigger or implement within the next 1.5 months within our BIDA structure. With regards to China, and I have to highlight that piece because this is specifically for the Chinese investors, and I can see a lot of Chinese familiar faces. So we are trying to also set up a representative arm of BIDA in China. If preferably possible, having a Chinese representative there who can also speak the language. That probably settles quite a few issues that was highlighted in the study regarding language barriers, regarding understanding of the country issues and all of that. So that's also one action item that we are working on from BIDA. If we can have a representation arm in China who is preferably a Chinese individual. Third, payment dues and the subsequent tariff increase that he mentioned, right? As you can see on the news, I think government has taken a significant step in trying to make sure that we clear our dues. We are really trying hard, and that's actually the priority item. If you look at all the actions we have taken, I'm very happy to see this morning that Chevron did mention that they are now going to reinitiate their gas project because they got around 250 million dues repaid. So I think these are good signs. These are good signals. Of course, this is only one example. I can understand the challenges that you guys have and subsequently the recommendation of having guarantees. So I think once we have a few more of these cases where we are able to fully give up or sort of settle the dues, then we think the confidence will be back. Land issues regarding issues related to getting lands and all of that, right? So I think that's given, and that's a common challenge that I hear from across the table. One good news that I can give you guys is we are trying to sort of also unlock the land bank that we have in our economic zones. So what we have done, and this came out yesterday, we are now doing a public PPP project run by ADB to have solar projects in the economic zones. This solves two purposes, right? One, you have a sort of a captive land bank, so the issues with the land tariffs going up and all gets eliminated, that's A. And B, if you are running it by a third party like ADB, you also get rid of that unsolicited question mark as well, right? So this is a big change within the current system, something like that was not there. Yesterday, we signed the TSA agreement with ADB, and this is going to come out in the next 2 to 3 months. So I think once that goes out, this is also going to unlock that big question mark on that land availability, and also third parties being able to run tenders using a PPP model. So I think that's also going to probably alleviate a lot of your problems. And the last piece is with the duty structures and all of that. One thing I can tell you is the proposals we have put forward to NBR regarding specific sectors on tariff, customs duties and all of them were listened to. Actually, all of those were reflected in the latest budget. So there is an appetite and willingness from the customs authorities and NBR authorities to listen to the investors. All that we need is the support from you to give us that exact recommendations on a piece of paper, which is probably balanced. Just an example, the inverter rate, which got reduced to 1% for HS code 85, that was actually done this budget as well, right? So I think this is one signal again, but this is a long journey. We cannot go there tomorrow because there is also that revenue balancing piece. But if we can agree to a roadmap for renewable, okay, look, so these are the specific items where we require tariff adjustments over a period of time, which balances the revenue requirement of the government as well. I think that probably would be a more palatable pitch, which we will sort of give from our end. We are happy to receive the recommendations from you. So these were the 4 or 5 things I wanted to talk related to facilitation. I think these are all good signals. Studies like this done by CPD are helpful. I contradict to the view that individual mentioned that Moazzem Bhai never was this strict. He has always been strict with us, but I think this work like this is more balanced. This gives a very true picture of what's happening with the investors, and this works as a good source and resource for us. So I definitely will take your feedback. That's the commitment I make. And any other feedback or recommendations you have, please channel it via CPD. We will definitely look into it. There was one recommendation coming from the news channel that if I can give a summary in Bengali. Yes. Okay, so I probably will give 4 to 5 liners in Bengali for the media. সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ আজকে এখানে আসার জন্য, এবং তারা সবাই যেই ইস্যুসগুলা এবং যেই চ্যালেঞ্জেসগুলো হাইলাইট করেছে প্রত্যেকটি রেলিভেন্ট, এবং আমাদের কাছ থেকে ওনাদের কাছে রিকোয়েস্ট থাকবে আমাদেরকে প্রপারলি ব্যবহার করার জন্য। তারা যদি এই রিকমেন্ডেশনগুলোকে একটি সামারি আকারে, একটি কনসলিডেট করে একটি সামারি আকারে সিপিডির মাধ্যমে আমাদের কাছে পাঠায়, তাহলে অবশ্যই আমরা চেষ্টা করব এটাকে রিভিউ করে এটার এগেইনস্টে যেই প্রপার অ্যাকশন রিকমেন্ডেশনগুলো দেওয়া উচিত গভর্নমেন্টের ডিফারেন্ট এজেন্সিগুলোকে, সেগুলোতে আমরা পাঠিয়ে দেওয়ার। এর বাইরে আমাদের দিক থেকেও কিছু উদ্যোগের ব্যবস্থা রয়েছে, যেমন আমি বলছিলাম পিপিপি প্রজেক্টের আওতায় এডিবির সাথে যৌথভাবে একটি সোলার প্রজেক্টের টেন্ডার করা। আমরা চেষ্টা করব আমাদের বিডার মধ্যে প্রায়োরিটি সেক্টর বেসিসে ডেস্ক তৈরি করা, যেমন রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জিটি ডেস্ক হতে পারে। আমরা চেষ্টা করছি আমাদের যেগুলি প্রায়োরিটি কান্ট্রি আছে বা দেশ আছে, যেমন চায়না একটি প্রায়োরিটি ইনভেস্টমেন্ট কান্ট্রি, সেখানে যাতে আমাদের রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ থাকে এবং যারা ওই দেশীয় ভাষায় কথা বলতে পারে, যাতে ইনভেস্টরদের জন্য আসা সহজ হয়। এবং অবশ্যই আমাদের পেমেন্ট ডিউজ ছিল অনেক। আমি আজকে সকালেই দেখলাম শেভরন ঘোষণা দিয়েছে তারা তাদের যে প্রজেক্টটি থামিয়ে রেখেছিল পেমেন্ট না পাওয়ার জন্য, সেটি তারা আবার শুরু করছে। আমাদের বিশ্বাস যে এরকম ছোট ছোট কিছু পদক্ষেপ আসলে আস্তে আস্তে আবার কনফিডেন্স ফেরত আনবে। আমরা জানি আমাদের ট্রান্সপারেন্সি, আমাদের প্রসেস নিয়ে অনেক কোয়েশ্চেন ছিল। আপনারা সবাই বলেছেন এলওআই ক্যান্সেলেশন একটি চ্যালেঞ্জ, এবং এটার ফিডব্যাকটা আমরা সবাই নিচ্ছি। আমাদেরকে দেখতে হবে কিভাবে আমরা আমাদের প্রসেসগুলোকে এমনভাবে শক্তভাবে তৈরি করতে পারি যাতে কখনো কোনো চ্যালেঞ্জ না আসে এটা ট্রান্সপারেন্সি নিয়ে, সেটি আমাদের টার্গেট হবে। এবং আমি যেটি বললাম, আপনারা যদি আপনাদের ফিডব্যাক পাঠিয়ে দেন, আমরা চেষ্টা করব সেগুলোকে রিভিউ করে প্রপার অ্যাকশন নিতে। এটি আমার পক্ষ থেকে। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, Mr. Nayan, Head of Business Development, BIDA. I think you have very specifically mentioned how BIDA can take some of the recommendations that have come forward from the paper as well as from the open flow. And we'll be very happy to pass on concrete proposals and suggestions that have come to us, and we will put those put forward to you for necessary action. Thank you. Let me actually invite at last to Mr. Jalal Ahmed, today's special guest, Chairman, Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission, Government of Bangladesh. I am very sorry that for a long time, a good number of participants have already left. For a chief guest of such a crowd is not very welcoming, but still that I am actually very grateful to Jalal Ahmed Bhai for so much patience for giving us and to stay here for last 4 hours. Thank you for your patiently waiting for the last, and over to you, Jalal Ahmed Bhai.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Kondakar Ghulam Mojim. In fact, we shared table for the first time, I think, while I was in Export Promotion Bureau in 2010-11. So we know each other well, and certainly I thank him and his team for this wonderful study and presentation they have made. The sector is very important, as we all are aware. The energy, one person, in fact, mentioned the per capita consumption of energy. We know that it relates with the economic development of a country, how much energy they consume. So it is very important for us, and we have set the priority also. As we are aware, in the energy and power master plan, there were a mix of power bag, how much we expected to get from renewables. The target was certainly, it was on the higher side, and it is mentioned by Representative Strada that the renewable energy policy has been approved, and there the target has been reviewed, and it has been now set in for 2030, it is 20% and 30% for 2040. We have a system of online application in BRC, but it is, as he has mentioned, I think 90% online, 10% offline, or 80% online, 10% offline. So the people have to visit us, they have to bring papers, they have to show the papers, we have to examine. So these hassles are there. And there are all these hassles, it has been mentioned in this report. I am particularly interested in the recommendations they made. So from BRC, I will go through these recommendations, and I will go through, in fact, I have listened you, those you have mentioned here. I have taken note of this. I will review these recommendations given by you and mentioned by CPD as it will be published, this report. So we will try to, on my part, from part of BERC, we will try to engage with the government. Legal, in fact, I have a responsibility given by law also to advise the government on some issues. So we are in a position to talk with the government how to ease the doing business for the investors generally and for the Chinese investors in particular. I hope this session will be beneficial for the Chinese investors here in Bangladesh and will help us to go forward to achieve the target set in the new policy, the 20% by 2030. For the media, as they have requested to tell something in Bengali, I am just going to address them. সিপিডিকে ধন্যবাদ এই চমৎকার একটি স্টাডির জন্য, যেটি মূলত বাংলাদেশে চৈনিক যে বিনিয়োগ আছে রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি ক্ষেত্রে সেটির উপর করা হয়েছে। আমরা জানি যে বাংলাদেশের যে এনার্জি যা পাওয়ার মিক্স যেটা আছে, আমরা গ্যাস ভিত্তিক বিদ্যুৎ কেন্দ্র রয়েছে, আমাদের কয়লা ভিত্তিক বিদ্যুৎ কেন্দ্র রয়েছে, তরল জ্বালানি ভিত্তিক বিদ্যুৎ কেন্দ্র রয়েছে, এবং উই হ্যাভ রিনিউয়েবলস অলসো। রিনিউয়েবলের যে অংশ যেটা, এটা আমরা জানি কমে গিয়েছে অনেকখানি, কারণ আমাদের অন্য ক্ষেত্রে বিদ্যুৎ উৎপাদন অনেক বেড়েছে, যে কারণে রিনিউয়েবলের যে অংশ ছিল সেটি আমরা গাণিতিক হারে যে দশমিক যদি হিসাব করে পার্সেন্টেজ, সেটা কমে গিয়েছে। আমাদের যে এনার্জি পাওয়ার সেক্টর মাস্টার প্ল্যান ছিল, সেখানে আমাদের যে উচ্চ হারে যে লক্ষ্যমাত্রা নির্ধারণ করা হয়েছিল, যেটা কিছুটা আনঅ্যাচিভেবল ছিল, সেটি নতুন এনার্জি রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি পলিসি 2025-এ এটি পুনর্নির্ধারণ করা হয়েছে। সো 2030 সালের মধ্যে 20% রিনিউয়েবল এনার্জি থেকে অর্জন, এটা হয়তো চেষ্টা করা যেতে পারে, এবং চেষ্টা করলে এটা অর্জন সম্ভব হতে পারে। কিন্তু সম্ভব হবে তখনই যখন এক্ষেত্রে আমরা বাধাগুলি দূর করতে পারবো। যে বাধাগুলি এই স্টাডিতে এসেছে এবং যে পরামর্শগুলি এসেছে, সেগুলি সরকার গুরুত্বের সঙ্গে বিবেচনা করবে বলে আমি বিশ্বাস করি। এখানে একটি বিষয় গুরুত্বের সঙ্গে উল্লেখ করেছেন সিপিডি রিপোর্টে এবং যারা অংশগ্রহণকারী, বিশেষ করে এই অন্তর্বর্তী সরকার যে এলওআইগুলি বাতিল করেছে, তারা প্রস্তাব করেছেন এটা এগুলি রিভিউ করার জন্য। এর মধ্যে যুক্তি রয়েছে এবং এখানে উল্লেখ করা হয়েছে যে ইতিমধ্যে এই ইনভেস্টররা অনেকে $300 মিলিয়ন মতো ইনভেস্ট করেছেন। সেই এই যে বিনিয়োগ, এটি বিপন্ন। ফলে আমার ধারণা যে রিভিউর যদি সুযোগ থাকে, সরকার নিঃসন্দেহে সেই সুযোগ নেবেন এবং যেগুলি উপযুক্ত সেগুলি রিভিউ হয়তো করবেন। আমি বিশ্বাস করি সিপিডি এই ধরনের গবেষণার মাধ্যমে জ্বালানি ক্ষেত্রে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ অবদান রাখতে সমর্থ হবে। ভবিষ্যতে বিশেষ করে আমি পাওয়ার মিক্সের কথা উল্লেখ করেছি, আমরা জানি যে আমাদের যে চাহিদা তার তুলনায় আমাদের ইনস্টল ক্যাপাসিটি অনেক বেশি। সো এটির একটি কিন্তু আগামী 10 বছরের জন্য বিশেষ করে যে আমরা কিভাবে এর ফেজ আউট করব, এই জিনিসটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। ফলে ভবিষ্যতে সিপিডি এই বিষয়ে কাজ করবে বলে আমি আশা প্রকাশ করছি। আমাকে আমন্ত্রণ জানানোর জন্য এবং দীর্ঘক্ষণ এখানে আপনারা অপেক্ষা করেছেন, শুনেছেন এবং কথা বলেছেন, আপনাদের সকলকে আন্তরিকভাবে ধন্যবাদ জানিয়ে আমার বক্তব্য শেষ করছি। আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
স্যার, একটা জিনিস একটু বেয়াদবি হয়ে যাবে,
একটু পরে মানে অনুষ্ঠানের শেষে বলি। হ্যাঁ,
স্যারকে একটা জিনিস
একটু পরে। হ্যাঁ, Thank you, Mr. Jalal Ahmed, special guest, Chairman, Bangladesh Energy Regulatory Commission, for your thoughtful remarks as well. And we're very happy that you take the recommendations as well as the discussions that has come from the open floor very positively. And we are also very happy that the other representative from other government office, particularly from the BIDA, BPDB, SREDA, they also very positively take into account the recommendations. And we are very hopeful that through these kinds of seminars and engagements, and afterwards much more closer engagement we're expecting with government agencies, particularly with BIDA, we could make positive changes in the future. So thank you all of your patiently waiting for over 4 hours. So with this, we like to conclude our today's session. There is lunch outside. Thank you.
Hello.